Chapter 81, Encounter. 254th day of being stranded, dawn. Park Sejun, wake up. A calm voice woke Sejun up. Anton. Park Sejun, the corrupted Int's branch scouts have appeared outside. What branch scouts? Sejun was puzzled, thinking that the corrupted Int had died from the breath of the black dragon statue. I killed just one of them. Oh. As Sejun understood the situation, he quickly grabbed his equipment and stood up. Squeak. The black rabbit, who was sleeping in the wooden box house in the corner of Sejun's bedroom, also woke up, grabbed his hammer and followed Sejun. As Sejun left the brick house and moved west. There aren't many, are there? 500 small branch scouts of the corrupted Int were visible. The number was definitely less compared to before. Let's go. Squeak. Just as the black rabbit was about to follow Sejun to fight. Black rabbit, you stay still. Today only Park Sejun will fight. Anton stopped the black rabbit. Squeak. Sejun is too weak. He needs to get stronger. Squeak. At Anton's words, the black rabbit nodded its head vigorously in agreement. Right, you understand too, so just watch. Squeak. At Anton's words, the black rabbit sat down on the ground and watched Sejun. Just then, Krung. Upon hearing the noisy sound, Kyungi, who had woken up and seen Sejun fighting alone, ran over. Dad's in danger. And, stop. Squeak. Krung. Kyungi, who had heard the situation from the black dragon statue, and the black rabbit gesturing towards him, also sat next to the black rabbit and watched Sejun. So Sejun was left alone to face the branch scouts. Thud. The hand axe Sejun threw stuck in the middle of a branch scout's body. You have defeated a small branch scout of the corrupted Int. You have earned 25 experience points. Pug. At the same time, Sejun stabbed an approaching enemy with the dagger in his left hand. You have defeated a small branch scout of the corrupted Int. You have earned 25 experience points. However, thud. From Sejun's right, another enemy approached and swung its wooden arm, attacking Sejun. There wasn't enough time to pull out the dagger and counterattack. Whoosh. Retrieve. While dodging the branch scout's attack, Sejun retrieved his hand axe. And then, thud. With the hand axe in his right hand, he chopped at the waist of the branch scout that had just attacked. You have defeated a small branch scout of the corrupted Int. You have earned 25 experience points. Sejun, facing the small branch scouts and wielding his weapons freely. I'm pretty strong, aren't I? Just as Sejun was happily immersing himself in his own strength and enjoying killing the enemies. The black rabbit and Kyungi, who had been watching Sejun's relaxed battle, fell asleep out of boredom. And he has a long way to go. Anton's worry grew as he watched Sejun's battle. Sejun was so hopeless that he didn't even know where to start helping him. That dawn, Sejun won against 500 small branch scouts. In Landlord Grid's office on the 55th floor of the tower. What? The Silver Wolf tribe broke the contract. Yes, what should we do? Leave it. They probably rejected the contract relying on the red locust meat on the 67th floor, but they'll regret it soon. Red locusts can be a sufficient food source for a few months while they're alive, but once the food supply runs out, they'll end up eating each other and naturally cease to exist. And then the famine that Grid was waiting for would start. However, that wouldn't be enough for Grid to get what he wanted, so Grid planned to cause another famine. How is Tariq doing with buying up monster corpses? Tariq has finished buying 50,000 monster corpses for the first round, and is currently leading the wandering merchants on the upper floors to the 67th floor. Good. Grid once saw it briefly on the 55th floor. When red locusts evolved to the next stage, they turned purple. And the body of a purple locust is so toxic that not only can no one eat it, it also contaminates the soil. Now all we have to do is wait, heh. Grid laughed heartily, exposing the roots of his ugly teeth. All right. Sejun, who had been fighting until dawn, woke up from a deep sleep. Swoosh. He marked the date on the wall with a single stroke and stepped outside. Roar. Emu. Outside, the mother crimson giant bear and black minotaurs were busy building a brick wall and working on the canal. Flamey, hello. Sejun went down to the cave and greeted Flamey. Master, good morning. Flamey greeted Sejun by waving its leaves. Flamey, I need the flame of affinity. Sejun planned to check the situation in the western forest as the branch scouts became active again. Yes, Eop. A yellow flame appeared from Flamey's green leaves and seeped into Sejun's body. The flame of affinity seeps in for 3 hours. The flame of affinity helps the user control the fire and enhances the power of the fire. Guys, let's go. Squeak. Kyung. At Sejun's call, the black rabbit and Kyungi, who had been hunting in the pond, followed Sejun. Kyungi, transform. Kyung. At Sejun's words, Kyungi grew larger. He planned to ride Kyungi instead of the mother crimson giant bear who was helping with the canal construction. Kyung. Kyungi laid down and carried Sejun and the black rabbit. Kyungi's size had already grown well over 10 meters. Da-da-da-da. They rode Kyungi and arrived at the edge of the western forest in just 40 minutes. And then, when did they grow this much? Sejun was surprised to see the decayed branches that had once again filled the entrance to the western forest. Sejun didn't know, but so far, the corrupted Ents hadn't been able to send branch scouts to Sejun's cave because they were replenishing the decayed branch watchmen that Sejun had burnt. Clang! Sejun struck his dagger and hand axe together to create a spark, and then threw the flame he made onto the decayed branches. They had grown a lot, but burning them again would be the end of it. Rather, he was grateful for the easy opportunity to gain experience points. Whoosh! Sejun's fire began to burn the decayed branches. You have defeated the decayed branch watchman of the corrupted Ent. You have gained 10 experience points. Squeak. Whoosh. Crone. Whoosh. Instead of the mother crimson giant bear, the black rabbit and Kyungi helped him by creating wind. They had consistently consumed honey jelly and enhanced their magic-related talents. They produced a strong wind. Whoosh! With their help, the fire grew quickly, and thanks to them, Sejun's experience points piled up rapidly. While Sejun was gaining experience, yellow flowers emerged from the western forest. Corrupted Ent sticky flower attacker. Thud thud. The sticky flower attack troops started to extinguish the fire by spitting sticky substance. We can't just let them do that. Thud. Sejun hit the head of a sticky flower attacker with his hand axe. You have killed the corrupted Ent sticky flower attacker. You have gained 1,200 experience points. The appearance of the monster that provides a decent amount of experience points was exciting. Guys, attack. Whoosh! Sejun, who felt bad for only able them support, moved the fire left and right, creating a path for the black rabbit and Kyungi to reach the sticky flower attacker. Squeak! Krwon. The black rabbit and Kyungi ran along the path Sejun had created. And then, pang pang pang. Pug! They began to defeat the sticky flower attacker. As the battle continued, you have leveled up. You have acquired 1 bonus stat. The flame of affinity is fatting. Sejun leveled up, and at the same time, the buff from flame of affinity ended. Let's get out of here. Sejun and the animals hurriedly fled. At the place Sejun left, Woowa! The roar of the corrupted Ent, angry at the disappearance of its watchman, echoed through the western forest. 67th floor of the tower. Lord Tariq, thank you for coming. Lizardman Great Warrior Tamuro greeted Tariq warmly. Tariq was the owner of the large trader group, Chow Group. Tamuro was thrilled that he had come in person. Lord Tamuro, this is a small token of my appreciation. Please accept it. Tarek handed Temuro a black card engraved with 10,000. It was a check that could be cashed for 10,000 tower coins at the Chow Group at any time. No, this is too much. Despite his awkward words, Temuro slipped the card Tarek had handed him into his armor. Lord Temuro, I'd like us to go out and collect the locust corpses. Would that be possible? Of course, the Boar tribe can fight as well, can't they? That would make things easier for us. Thank you, let's go. Tarek went out with the wandering merchant who had followed him and returned after 10 hours. Although the amount of red locust corpses outside did not significantly differ compared to the time they left, Temuro didn't pay much attention to it. Tower 75th floor shopping district. Hurry up, meow. Theo ran to the blacksmith shop to do the lottery draw. No matter how much of a hurry he was in, he had to do what Sejun had asked. He had his companions wait at the entrance of the shopping district so that he could finish his task quickly and leave. Having arrived at the blacksmith shop, Theo looked around the lottery corner before purchasing a lottery ticket to see if there was anything he wanted to draw. However, I'm not drawn to anything, meow. There were no items that attracted him. Theo left the blacksmith's shop empty-handed. And on the way back to the entrance of the shopping district, where his companions were waiting. Choo-choo. A familiar voice reached Theo's ears. Is this? When Theo hurriedly stopped and looked in the direction of the noise, he saw Yona, who was frantically looking around, calling someone's name. Phew, it's not too late, meow. Seeing his competitor in front of him, Theo breathed a sigh of relief. Sejun's lap was safe. Pew-hut, I should hurry and go up first, meow. Theo tried to leave quickly with a laugh, but... Choo-choo, where are you? Meow. He couldn't take a step. He was torn. He had to sit on Sejun's warm lap and eat chiru quickly, but he couldn't just leave Yona, who was desperately looking for someone. Yona, what's the matter, meow? Theo finally decided to help Yona. Representative Theo, please help. My disciple Choo-choo has disappeared. When Theo appeared, Iona explained her situation to him. Choo-choo, what does she look like, meow? A white rabbit wearing a red ribbon and big glasses. Got it, meow. I'll have my subordinates help, meow. It'll be faster if we all look together, meow. Theo rushed back to the entrance of the shopping district. You guys, help Iona find a white rabbit named Choo-choo with a red ribbon and big glasses, meow. Yes. The wolves and interns spread out and started looking for Choo-choo. At that moment, hello, Mr. Theo. Jiras, a secret inspection bureau agent who was patrolling the area, saw Theo and greeted him cheerfully. Seeing Theo's rapidly increasing sales, Jiras was proud of his ability to recognize the genius merchant. Oh, Jiras, help me, meow. We're looking for a white rabbit named Choo-choo, meow. Theo, who wanted to find Choo-choo quickly and go to the 99th floor of the tower, abruptly asked Jiras for help. He felt that he had to take any help available in this situation. Choo-choo. That's right, meow. Let's find her quickly, meow. Theo dragged Jiras along, and Jiras, taken by surprise, ended up abandoning his mission of secret patrol duty and began helping find Choo-choo. However, they couldn't find Choo-choo, even after several hours had passed. I want to sit on Park Sejun's lap soon, meow. Just as Theo was longing for Sejun's lap. Zing! Theo's front paw activated, a strong attraction. Click! Theo put his paw on a bag carried by an unknown wandering merchant. What the? The wandering merchant glared at the one who dared to touch his bag. And then, you. Theo and Scarum locked eyes. Chapter 82, We Are One. Is there no one to be swindled today? Scarum, as usual, hid in a corner of the building, looking for new prey to scam. Then, squeak squeak tilde. A white rabbit, humming merrily, passed by Scarum while singing a lively tune. What the? It's just a rabbit. Scarum turned his gaze again to find prey, but then, what's that? The red ribbon worn on the rabbit's ears caught Scarum's attention. It was the symbol of the now-vanished Red Ribbon royal family, featuring a crescent moon and a rabbit. And then, could it be? An item flashed across Scaram's mind. Red Ribbon. It was definitely the Red Ribbon, the item that Landlord Grid was desperately searching for, offering a reward through the dark society. Hehe, I am lucky today. With a smirk, Scaram put on his hood to hide his face and started following the white rabbit. And then, thud! When the white rabbit passed a secluded area, he knocked it unconscious with his poison sting. Squeak! Thump! The white rabbit fainted and fell to the ground. Hezzy! Scaram approached, laughing, and put the unconscious white rabbit into his bag. Considering the various problems that could arise from just taking the red ribbon and leaving the rabbit here, Scaram decided to hand over the rabbit to Grid as well for a clean finish. Just as Scaram was leaving the market area with his bag. Tab! Someone touched his bag. What the? Scaram glared at the person who dared to touch his bag. And then, you! He locked eyes with Theo, a customer he once swindled. Huh? Theo was taken aback by his own paw reaching towards someone else's bag, but once he recognized that the owner was Scaram, he pulled himself together. And then, Scammer, hand over Choo Choo Meow. He shouted at Scaram. Choo Choo. That's right, Meow. Choo Choo is definitely in your bag, Meow. Yona, who knew about Theo's golden front paw, described the appearance of Choo Choo, and also about the red ribbon that Choo Choo was carrying. The red ribbon is a relic item, one of only 10 in the Black Tower. Your front paw will definitely be attracted to it. Indeed, Theo felt the same attraction from Scaram's bag as he did when he found the relic item, the straw hat. What are you talking about? Yona. As Scaram was startled and tried to leave the shopping area, Theo quickly called Yona. Representative Theo, have you found our Choo Choo? At Theo's call, Yona, who was nearby, quickly flew over. I think so, Meow. That goblin wandering merchant's bag is very suspicious, Meow. Is that so? Goblin wandering merchant, can you show us your bag? I'm Yona, the chairman of the Wizards Association. I'll give you 10,000 tower coins just for showing your bag. Yona politely asked Scaram to show his bag, an opportunity to earn a large amount just for showing the bag. If he had nothing to hide, there would be no reason to refuse. But I refuse. Scaram, who had something to hide, refused and opened the bag now. Yona became enraged, triggering her level 1 anger state, and used her magic. Swoosh! With Yona's shout, the bag began to open by itself. It was Yona using her magic to forcibly open the bag. Rumble! The contents of the bag began to pour out. Most of them were earth items like tumblers. Huh! Scaram was startled when his bag opened on its own. Then a pure white rabbit came out of the bag. Choo Choo! As expected of Theo, he found Choo Choo in Scaram's bag. Choo Choo! Choo Choo did not respond even when Iona called. Absolute recovery. When Iona was using the highest level healing magic to restore Choo Choo. Quietly, Scaram began to run away. But, grrrr. Elka and the wolves who had arrived late surrounded Scaram. And then, Pew Hugh Hut, where do you think you're going when there's still much to account for, Meow? Theo stepped forward with the cat interns and spoke. Theo intended to get back at Scaram for deceiving him by taking him to Sejun to demand payment, aside from the kidnapping of Choo Choo. 255th day of being stranded, morning. All right. Sejun woke up in a good mood. Perhaps because he had burned the western forest yesterday, no branch scouts came this morning. I'll need to set a fire from time to time. Sejun added burning the western forest to his farming task list. It was killing 2 birds with 1 stone, gaining experience and preventing the corrupted ents of the western forest from expanding their power. Swoosh! Sejun added a stroke on the bedroom wall to complete 1 Chinese letter, and then went outside. Today, since he woke up early, there was no one wandering around the ground fields except for busy honeybees. Should I have some morning coffee for a change? Sejun filled a tumbler with hot water to make coffee and sat in the chair in front of his house drinking the coffee. Slurp. Ah, this is good. As the hot coffee went down his throat and into his stomach, he felt a comforting warmth as if he was having a hangover cure. Just as he was enjoying his leisurely coffee. Buzz zzz. He saw a struggling honeybee fall to the ground. Huh. Sejun, who had been drinking coffee, quickly put down his tumbler and ran towards the fallen honeybee. Hey, what's wrong with you? Sejun asked as he touched the honeybee's body and asked. The honeybee was in bad shape. Its wings were slightly torn and one of its legs was cut off. Buzz zzz. To the east, the honeybees. East. If it's the east, it's the original habitat of the bees that used to live on the 99th floor of the tower. Unlike the honeybees that Sejun raises, these were aggressive and carnivorous, so Sejun had instructed the honeybees not to venture near the eastern region. Buzz. They've invaded our territory, and we fought. Rest for now. Sejun put the honeybee into the hive. I need to go check out the east. With the west calming down a bit, the east was the problem. Sejun started to prepare to go east. First, Black Rabbit Kyungi. He called his bodyguards, the Black Rabbit and Kyungi. Sejun never went outside the farm alone. While the poisonous honeybee's venom can be easily neutralized with detoxifying green onions, that's only true if stung once or twice. The sting of the poisonous honeybee is about 10 cm long and as thick as a ballpoint pen. On top of that, the bees move in groups of hundreds. It wasn't the poison that could kill, but excessive bleeding was also a possibility. Squeak. Crown. At Sejun's call, Black Rabbit and Kyungi came running. Kyungi transform. Crown. Sejun rode on the enlarged Kyungi and moved towards the eastern border. Help me, everyone. These guys are trying to kill me. Scaram called for help from those around him. He hoped to create an opportunity to escape in the confusion when other merchants gathered to watch. However, click. I am Jiras, an agent of Secret Inspection Bureau of the Wandering Merchant Association. This goblin wandering merchant, Scaram, is caught red-handed trying to kidnap a white rabbit. I will hold an immediate trial now. Jiras stepped forward quickly, showing his identification from Secret Inspection Bureau. For him, who had been struggling to catch Scaram in the act, this was a golden opportunity. Clank. Jiras handcuffed Scaram's hand. Huh. Scaram was surprised when an agent of Secret Inspection Bureau suddenly appeared. Goblin Wandering Merchant Scaram, you are permanently expelled from the list of wandering merchants. You are no longer a wandering merchant. With Jiras's words, Scaram's name was erased from the wandering merchant certificate he held, and from the scoreboard showing the sales amount ranking of wandering merchants. No. Scaram despaired at Jiras's judgment. Being permanently expelled from the wandering merchant list had significant implications. First of all, when you are permanently expelled from the wandering merchant list, not only the Wandering Merchant Association, but also all relationships with the Freelance Mercenaries Association, Wizards Association are cut off. In other words, it was impossible to officially operate in the tower. Moreover, the Wandering Merchant Association does not protect those who are not wandering merchants. You can do as you please now. Jiras handed over Scaram, who was handcuffed, to Theo and said, I don't know what's going on, but thank you, Meow. And I also have a secret, Meow. In fact, I am the Great Black. Just when Theo was about to disclose his identity. Kaiwo, how dare you touch my disciple? I will not forgive you. Upon witnessing the situation where her disciple was almost kidnapped, Iona reached level 2 anger state. Kaiwo. It's the second stage of Kaiwo anger. Run. We need to get out of here. Merchants who recognized Iona, the great destructive wizard, began to flee. If it's the second stage of Kaiwo anger, at least a small village would be destroyed. A quarter of the market area could be blown away. Gulp. Jiras was also nervous. If Iona used destructive magic here, he couldn't guarantee his own life. Then, Iona, calm down, meow. We need to take this scammer to President Park, meow. Kaiwo to Sejun. That's right, meow. Kaiwo why? The level of Iona's Kaiwo anger gradually decreased as she talked with Theo. That's because President Park asked us to bring this scammer, meow. Sejun had doubts while looking at the earth goods that Scarum scammed from the cats. Compared to the number of awakened ones entering through vanishing, Scarum was selling too many earth goods. And why are they all Korean products? The majority of goods Scarum sold were from Korea. It was impossible that only Koreans were entering the tower via vanishing. So Sejun thought that Scarum was trading with someone in Korea. Okay, let's go to Sejun together then. Meow. No way, meow. Jonah, don't come to the 99th floor of the tower, meow. Theo immediately adopted a defensive posture at Iona's willingness to join. He had gone so far as to find her disciple, but she wanted to follow him all the way to the 99th floor of the tower. I don't want to, but it's my mind and I have no choice but to go to the 99th floor. Then I'll get to the 99th floor first, meow. Theo shouted as he put Scarum on another wolf and climbed on Elka's back. Elka, let's go, meow. Yes. The wolves set off for the 99th floor of the tower. And then, Representative Theo. Let's go together. Da-da-da. Interns eagerly followed him. Kaiwat, we can't lose either. Choo-choo, let's go. Iona got on Choo-choo's back casually and spoke. Squeak. Choo-choo quickly ran with Iona on its back. Thus began the race between Theo and Iona. However, Kaiwat, 2 Lightspeed Merchant Route Passage, please. The winner was already decided. On the way to the east. VVVing. Before Sejun even arrived at the eastern border, he could see the poison honey bees fighting. The eastern poison honey bees had started patrolling up to this point. Let's help them too. However, he soon discovered a problem. We can't differentiate between our guys and the enemies. The appearance of the poison honey bees was so similar that it was hard to distinguish. Kryung. We can tell by the smell. Kyungi pointed to his nose and said. According to Kyungi, Sejun's poison honey bees smelled sweet like honey and the other poison bees smelled like meat. But that's something only you can do. Kryung. Kyungi tilted his head, wondering why he couldn't do something so simple. While they were talking, VVVing. One of the battling poison bees flew towards Sejun. Kyungi, what smell is it? Kryung. It smells like meat. Really? Sejun threw his hand axe at the poison bee. However, VVVing. The poison bee easily dodged Sejun's hand axe. And then, bang, pop, pop, pop. In the end, the black rabbit took care of it. Guys, I've prepared a slogan for us, Sejun said suddenly with a serious face. Squeak. Kryung. Black Rabbit and Kyungi were confused by Sejun's sudden remark. Repeat after me, we are one. Squeak, we are one. Kryung, we are one. At Sejun's shout, the Black Rabbit and Kyungi shouted in unison. Day 255 of being stranded, Sejun's journey for self-reliance was still far from complete. Chapter 83. Yum. Aileen swallowed the honey jelly. As soon as she put it in her mouth, the honey jelly melted, spreading a sweet taste all over her mouth along with the unique flavor of peanuts. You have consumed poisonous honey bees, peanut honey jelly. The honey jelly made from peanut flower nectar, like the cherry tomato honey jelly, had the effect of enhancing magic-related talents, so Aileen had been alternating between the two recently. Haha, delicious. Just as Aileen was enjoying her honey jelly. Talent, Hardened Dragon Heart has been slightly enhanced. Talent, the limit of hardened dragon heart has been exceeded. Talent, hardened dragon heart, has grown into a slightly soft dragon heart. Aileen's talent grew after consuming the honey jelly. Has it done? Thump, 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 thump. Aileen felt the rhythm of her almost smooth dragon heart beating and was delighted. Grandpa, my talent has grown. Of course, my granddaughter, Grandpa believed in you. Then teach me to polymorph now. Polymorph why? Heh, I want to polymorph quickly and play with Sejun. No, that rascal, ahem. Fortunately, you're not yet skilled enough to polymorph. Not yet. Yet you're far from it. Let's focus on what you can do right now. Kaiser coaxed Aileen into understanding the abilities of her grown dragon heart. Adapting to the grown dragon heart was the priority for now. Whining. Kriyaung. Smells like meat. Kyungi launched a light magic punch at the approaching poisonous bees, who were exuding a meaty smell. Kriyaung. Kyungi created a powerful vacuum within 10 m in front of him with his fist, knocking out the poisonous bees. And Sejun was picking up the poisonous bees, who were knocked out by Kyungi's attack. Poisonous bees, from now on you can only eat honey, got it? Whining. Yes. The poisonous bees obediently responded to Sejun's words. Sejun was using honey taken out from Kyungi's snack bag to tempt the eastern poisonous bees by introducing them to the taste of honey, making them give up meat eating. Of course, there was resistance from Kyungi, but he agreed to give him twice the honey when they returned. The wild poisonous bee has decided to follow you. Good. Sejun was proud looking at the 300-second poisonous bee that he converted. Originally, he planned to wipe out all the eastern poisonous bees. If I could only get them to taste the honey. Suddenly, he thought that if he could convert the poisonous bees, it would be a big help for his farm. Sejun, whose fields were growing recently, felt a shortage of honeybees. So he caught a poisonous bee to experiment with and successfully persuaded it by introducing it to the taste of honey. The poisonous bee, which tasted the honey, easily switched sides to Sejun. After all, a poisonous bee is a bee. As soon as they tasted honey, they immediately gave up meat eating. Okay, let's continue this momentum and convert 1,000 poisonous bees to our side today. Squeak. Kriyaung. Sejun's resolve also excited the Black Rabbit and Kyungi. The two always had fun when they were with Sejun. As they were converting the poisonous bees. Squeak. The Black Rabbit pointed to a place. There was a huge 3-meter-tall beehive built like a tower. Will this work? Sejun cautiously approached. And then, Kyungi shake it. Kriyaung. Upon receiving Sejun's command, Kyungi indiscriminately shook the hive he was holding. Whining. The poisonous bees that were inside the beehive came out to attack Kyungi, but Kriyaung. The sting of the poisonous bee was only a slight annoyance to Kyungi. A few hundred of them couldn't pose a significant threat to Kyungi. Squeak. Bang, bang, bang. Furthermore, the Black Rabbit was knocking out the poisonous bees with his hammer, preventing them from getting close to Kyungi. Guys, good job. From a distance, Sejun cheered for the Black Rabbit and Kyungi. We are. As Sejun began to chant. Squeak 1. Kriyaung 1. The two chanted the rest of the slogan. The three were getting in sync, or rather, Sejun emphasized teamwork. When the poisonous bees inside the hive were knocked out due to Kyungi shaking it, Sejun pulled out the unconscious poisonous bee queen from inside the hive. And then, Queen, wake up and try this. Sejun woke the poisonous bee queen, fed her honey, and persuaded her to join his side. If you go with me, you can eat this every day. Do you want to join me? Whining. Understood, I look forward to working with you. The wild poisonous bee queen has decided to follow you. The 1,295 poisonous bees commanded by the wild poisonous bee queen have decided to follow you, following their queen. You have acquired the beehive owned by the wild poisonous bee queen. Well, he had exceeded his goal of converting 1,000 poison honey bees in a single go. Kriaung. Kyungi cheered at the increase in the number of poisonous honey bees who could make honey. Hezeli. Squeaka. Kriaung. With their great success, the three were moving the poisonous honey beehive near Sejun's farm while singing songs in a joyful mood when Kaiwat Kaiwat Kaiwat, Mr. Sejun. From a distance, Iona called out to Sejun and ran up quickly. That's when Squeaka. Seeing the direction Iona was coming from, the black rabbit groaned, suppressing his emotions. Black rabbit, what's wrong? Squeak squeak. I think I'm going to die. My heart is beating too fast. No, you're not going to die, that's Sejun said as he saw a white rabbit running towards them carrying Iona. What was meant to come had come. Spring had arrived for the black rabbit. Could it be love? It felt a bit cheesy to call it love. Honestly, it was an emotion Sejun didn't fully understand himself. Squeaka. Kriaung. What's love, you ask? Well, love is. The virgin, who learned about relationships from TV, started explaining love to these rookies. Just remember this. Love is straightforward. It means not running away from your own feelings, and we are. Squeak 1. Kriaung 1. Go on, Black Rabbit, we're rooting for you. Sejun clenched his fist. He felt strangely nervous. Kriaung. Kyungi also didn't know what was going on, but he clenched his two fists and cheered for the Black Rabbit anyway. And then, Squeaka. Encouraged by their cheers, the Black Rabbit stepped forward. Iona, what's up? Kaiwat Kaiwat Kaiwat. I'm planning to get samples for magical research from the 99th floor of the tower for a while. However, Iona's gaze was fixed on Sejun's knee as she responded. Is that so? Iona, can we talk for a moment? Sejun called Iona separately to create an opportunity for the Black Rabbit and Choo Choo to talk alone. The Black Rabbit approached the White Rabbit who had come with Iona. Thump, 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 thump. As he got closer, his heart beat faster and more wildly. His uncle had told him that this was love. Hello, I'm Black Rabbit. The Black Rabbit, encouraged by Sejun and Kyungi, approached and spoke confidently. Yes, I am Choo Choo. Choo Choo brightly responded. She had heard from her master, but seeing a fellow rabbit tribe made Choo Choo very happy. Then, Choo Choo, I love you. The Black Rabbit bluntly confessed his feelings to Choo Choo. I'm sorry, I don't have the leisure to be in love right now. Choo Choo flatly refused him. That's okay, then I'll create that luxury for you. How can I help you? I have to rebuild the Rabbit Kingdom, Red Ribbon, on the 55th floor of the tower. Is that so? Then, if I rebuild Red Ribbon Kingdom, will you go out with me? Do you think rebuilding a kingdom is that easy? I don't know, but I'm going to do it, so go out with me. No, rebuilding a kingdom is not that easy. Then, if I rebuild the kingdom, go out with me. His uncle said that love is straightforward and one doesn't run away from it. The Black Rabbit was charging straight ahead. In a nursing home in Kobe, Japan. Swoosh. The door of the single room opened, and a man entered carrying a box full of green onions and sweet potatoes. Honey, I'm back, the man said, looking at his frail wife Toda, lying on the bed. Gitaro, welcome back. As Toda stretched out her arm, Gitaro carefully hugged her. I finally got the detoxifying green onions. Just wait a little. It's not too hard, is it? Don't worry, I'm a hunter of the Royal Knights Guild. It had cost nearly 400 million yen, but Gitaro didn't tell the whole truth. He could spend even more money to save his wife, who was in the terminal stage of liver cancer. He just regretted not being able to get enough detoxifying green onions as he wanted. To cure terminal liver cancer, 100 detoxifying green onions were needed, but Gitaro could only get 50. The auction was selling detoxifying green onions in sets of 500, so the bid was too high. Therefore, the guild first won the auction with the Guild Operation Fund, and then distributed them among the guild members. However, the supply of detoxifying green onions was small, and there were many guild members who wanted them. Most of the guilds were first selling the detoxifying green onions to patients with severe symptoms to reduce conflict. Instead, they only sold the quantity that could alleviate symptoms, not cure them. Sai. Gattaro washed 3 detoxifying green onions and 1 power sweet potato with water and put them in a steamer. Various studies had shown that eating 3 detoxifying green onions per meal maximizes efficiency. Chew them slowly and thoroughly. Gattaro began to feed Toda, cutting the fully cooked green onions and sweet potatoes into small pieces. Yes. Toda cautiously ate the onions and sweet potatoes. The sweet potato will help stimulate your bowel movements. Yes. Toda answered quietly, perhaps out of embarrassment. The effect of the power sweet potato was so good that it made you go to the bathroom within 30 minutes of eating it. Since then, Toda always ate onions and sweet potatoes together. And a few days later, when she visited the hospital for a regular checkup. This is a miracle. The patient's cancer has completely disappeared. She was declared cured. What, really? Toda couldn't believe the doctor's words, as she had only eaten 30 detoxifying green onions so far. She wasn't just getting better from stage 3 liver cancer, she was declared cured. Yes, furthermore, all your liver function tests are above average. Toda, just in case, went to other hospitals, but all of them reported no signs of cancer cells. Afterwards, a doctor who had heard of Toda's case announced research results that the power sweet potato enhanced the effect of the detoxifying green onions by 5 times, and similar cases started to be reported from other hospitals. It was an incredible effect. It meant that if you had the power sweet potato, you could cure liver cancer with just 20 detoxifying green onions. Hunters who bought power sweet potatoes for strength increases were flooded with requests to buy their sweet potatoes, and other hunters were just waiting for the next auction where they could buy or sweet potatoes. Let me introduce you to my apprentice Choo Choo. Yona, who was talking to Sejun, called her apprentice Choo Choo. At the call of her master, the white rabbit came running, followed by the black rabbit. The two didn't seem to have become particularly close. Did the conversation not go well? Sejun, this is Choo Choo, the princess of the Red Ribbon Kingdom. Choo Choo, say hello. This is the great black dragon, Park Sejun. Squeak. At Yona's words, Choo Choo bowed. A princess. The social status of the white rabbit that the black rabbit had fallen in love with was higher than he thought. I should also make something that won't make our black rabbit feel inferior. Let's go to the farm for now. Sejun took the group back to the farm. And right arm of the great black dragon. Bodyguard of President Park. Black hammer soldier. Sejun was thinking about a social status for the black rabbit that would not be inferior to a princess while walking. Squeeze. The black rabbit and Choo Choo were holding hands and following them. Chapter 84. 67th floor of the tower. Hurry and collect them. Yes. At the command of Borori, the wolves and the cat interns quickly answered and began to put the carcasses of the red locusts into their bags. Before they knew it, they were moving like a pack. The wolves did not ignore or ruthlessly boss around the cat interns. They worked together, and Borari even shared a portion of the rewards Sejun gave to the wolves with the cat interns. Touched by the wolves' attitudes, the interns didn't complain and worked hard. Then, Intern Larry, who was collecting the red locust's carcasses, felt something strange when he looked at one of the carcasses. The blue color that was starting to show on the red locust's body was not visible at all. The signs of degeneration were gone. Mr. Borari, something strange. Larry called Borori. Intern Larry, what is it? This red locust's carcass doesn't show any blue color at all. It could be a sign that the number of red locusts is increasing again. Is that so? We need to report this to Sejun. Larry, good job. I will suggest to Sejun to shorten the contract period by 5 days. Thank you. At Borori's words, Larry was touched and thought that it would be all right to continue working here, where he was appreciated. In fact, the Black Rabbit is actually. Sejun was about to turn around and talk about the hastily fabricated identity of the Black Rabbit on their way to the farm when Kriaung. Kyungi suddenly started running, holding a beehive to his side with his left hand and holding Sejun's left hand. It was to prevent Sejun from looking behind. Kyungi, what's wrong? Kriaung. I want to go back and eat honey quickly. Just wait a moment. I'm going to tell the Black Rabbit that there's a secret to its birth and help him with his love. It was Sejun's intention to create a sense of mystery around the Black Rabbit. But, Kriaung, the best help is to leave them alone. Sejun was cut off by Kyungi. What does that mean? Kriaung, you are so clueless. Thus, Sejun was treated as clueless by Kyungi, and they arrived at the farm. And here's the honey. Sejun filled Kyungi's snack bag with 2 glass bottles full of honey. And when he was looking to see if there was any remaining work on the farm. Kaiwat, Kaiwat, Kaiwat. Sejun, there's a sweet smell here, what is it? Yona was excitedly pointing at the peanut field. Oh, this is the peanut field. It's about time to harvest, shall we dig some up? Thunk. When Sejun pulled a peanut stem. You have successfully harvested 36 peanut hulls at once. Your job experience significantly increases. Your harvesting skill LV4 proficiency significantly increases. You have gained 1080 experience. Yellow peanut hulls with a clear net pattern along the stem came up. Well, Kaiwat, Kaiwat, Kaiwat. Sejun, could you give me just one of those peanuts? Yona, forgetting her dignity as the chairman of the Wizards Association, clung to Sejun's leg and whined for a peanut. Just a moment. Puppy. Sejun harvested 1 peanut hull from the stem. He then took out 2 peanuts from inside the hull. Magical peanut. Right arrow, a peanut grown in the tower. It is delicious because it has absorbed enough nutrients. Right arrow, it has been cultivated by a tower farmer who is skilled in farming, improving its taste and efficiency. Right arrow, upon consumption, it breaks down 15 g of body fat and increases magic power by 0.25 for 10 minutes. Right arrow, the effect can be stacked up to 20 times within an hour. When consumed by a non-awakener, it breaks down 15 g of body fat and enhances brain activity. Right arrow cultivator, Tower Farmer Park Sejun. Right arrow expiration date, 90 days. Right arrow grade C. 1 hull is considered 1 fruit, so the effect was half for a single peanut. However, the effect could be stacked up to 20 times. It's a shame. If I had this when I was in college, I would have gotten good grades. Sejun regretted after seeing the brain-boosting effect of the peanuts. Here you go. Kaiwat, Kaiwat, thank you. When Sejun gave a peanut to Yona. Crunch, crunch. Yona started to peel the peanut shell and ate the peanut eagerly. She's really enjoying it. Seeing Iona eating so deliciously, Sejun also wanted to eat. He put the remaining peanut into his mouth. When he bit into the peanut, perhaps because it was raw, it had a similar texture to the beans, which are soft and crunchy, rather than the hard texture of roasted peanuts eaten outside. The taste was fresh, but the unique savory taste of peanuts remained. It's good. Sejun, surprised by the better-than-expected taste, harvested 5 peanut hulls and stuffed 10 peanuts into his mouth all at once. Munching on peanuts, Sejun started to seriously harvest peanuts. Thud. You have successfully harvested 40 peanuts at once. When he had harvested about half of the peanuts. Sizzle. Hug. Sejun felt a burning gaze towards him. What is it? When Sejun looked at the entity casting the heated gaze at him, it was Iona, staring at him with a desire to eat more peanuts. Do you want more peanuts? Yes, can I? Yona, who had been waiting for the right time to ask Sejun, quickly replied. Sure. Sejun took out 2 peanuts from a peanut hull and handed them to Yona. Kaiwat, thank you. Crunch, crunch. Yona hummed a little tune and started munching on the peanuts again. At that moment, Kriang, Kyungi, who smelled a delicious aroma from afar, started lurking around the peanut field. Do you want some peanuts too, Kyungi? Kriang. At Sejun's words, Kyungi nodded vigorously. Tab tab. Sejun peeled off some peanut hulls and placed 100 peanuts in Kyungi's hand. Make sure to chew it well. These are not for filling your stomach, understood? Kriang. Kyungi answered and started munching on the peanuts. Munch, munch. Kriang. Enjoying the savory and sweet taste, Kyungi started dancing his own joyful dance. So cute. Sejun watched Kyungi's dance and went back to harvesting peanuts. While harvesting the peanuts, an obstacle appeared that interfered with his work. There was a peanut stem that wouldn't come out no matter how much force Sejun put into it. Even with all his strength, the peanut stem didn't budge an inch. Krung. Kyungi, who had been watching from the side, got frustrated and grabbed the peanut stem from behind Sejun and pulled together. Pull. Kriang. With Sejun's signal, they both pulled on the peanut stem together and then crack. Swoosh. A giant peanut stem, 3 meters long, was pulled out as the ground split apart. You have harvested a giant peanut hull. Your job experience increases slightly. Your proficiency in harvesting LV4 increases slightly. You have earned 30 experience points. A giant peanut hull. When Sejun cut the giant peanut hull with his dagger, there were 2 giant peanuts inside. Giant peanut. Right arrow, a peanut grown inside the tower. Although its taste is good due to sufficient nutrient intake, but all nutrients have been used for growth. Right arrow, there are no effects when consumed. Right arrow, it will not sprout when planted. Right arrow cultivator, Tower Farmer Park Sejun. Right arrow expiration date, 45 days. Right arrow grade C. Although it had no effect as an item, it was the best when looking at its size. Kyungi, take this to your mom. This was a size that even Kyungi's mother, the Crimson Giant Bear, could fully enjoy. Kriang. Kyungi, in his giant form, picked up the 2 giant peanuts and went to his mother. And Sejun continued harvesting the peanuts. Phew, it's done. Sejun harvested 3481 peanut hulls. He also leveled up in the process, becoming level 32. Kyungi, carry these. Kriang. Sejun took 200 peanut stems separately and gave them to Kyungi, who had returned from delivering the giant peanuts to his mother, the Crimson Giant Bear. And then, Iona, could you move this? He pointed to the remaining 500 peanut stems and asked Iona. Yes, float. Iona, who was eating the peanut crumbs that had fallen into her fur after finishing her peanuts, stood up and used a floating spell. The harvested peanut stems floated into the air. Wow! Kriang. Sejun and Kyungi stared in awe at the peanut stems floating in the sky. The peanut stems floating in the sky were a spectacle in their own right. It was truly a magical ability worthy of a great mage. Kaiwat, where should I move them? Iona, who saw Sejun and Kyungi's reactions, asked with a cheerful smile. Shake off the dirt and lay them out over there without overlapping. Sejun pointed to a piece of land where a field had not yet been created. He planned to spread the peanuts out widely to dry them. Okay. While Iona moved the peanut stems to where Sejun had indicated, Sejun instructed Kyungi to place half of the peanut stems in front of the house and move the rest to the storage. And then, whoosh! Sejun took the peanut stems that Kyungi had placed in front of the house to the faucet to wash off the dirt that was attached to the peanut stems. The faucet was a facility made by installing a thin wooden tube that came down vertically from the fountain tower, and a lid that could be opened and closed. Glug glug. After washing the peanut stems cleanly in the water, He detached the peanuts from the stems and put them into 3 pots and started boiling them. Boiling or steaming fresh peanuts is a delicacy in itself. This is best enjoyed in autumn. He felt a bit regretful that there were no seasons here. After about 10 minutes of boiling, Sejun periodically checked the peanuts' condition. If undercooked, they would taste raw, and if overcooked, they would be mushy. Good, they're done. As soon as the peanuts were well cooked, Sejun lifted the pot from the stove. Then he said, "Hey guys, let's have a snack." Sejun called the rabbits on the farm. "Aileen, try this." Sejun sent a pot full of boiled peanuts to Aileen, who was able to eat crops that boost magic as her skills grew. Since becoming an mid-level administrator, Sejun was able to send items without a quest. The tower administrator says thank you. The tower administrator asks you to wait a little longer. The tower administrator is excited and says that we can meet in about 250 more years. Yeah. Sejun barely held back the words. By then, I'll already be dead. He refrained because Anton and Kaiser asked him not to say anything that would make Aileen anxious. But the waiting time was reduced from 300 years to 250 years since the Dragonheart's condition improved. If things go well, I might be able to see Aileen while I'm still alive. To be honest, he didn't have high expectations. The other party was a dragon. What would he do when he met it? Should I ask her to let me ride on her back? As Sejun pondered what to do when he met Aileen. Munch munch. Squeaka. Squeaka. Pi pi pi. The rabbits began to eat the boiled peanuts. Choo Choo, the princess of the Red Ribbon Kingdom, quickly became friends with the other rabbits and fit in well. And then, Squeaka. Seeing the black rabbit sitting on his lap and enjoying the boiled peanuts, Sejun felt a pang in his heart. Eat a lot, black rabbit. Squeaka. Sejun continued to worry about the black rabbit, not realizing that feelings had already begun to develop between them. Argue, this isn't right. Yona, who had taken a spot on the sleeping Sejun's lap, was in deep thought. Yona, who had suffered from insomnia for hundreds of years, fell asleep as soon as she laid down on Sejun's lap at the Zenka Lake on the 75th floor of the tower, for the first time in hundreds of years. So she thought that Sejun's lap was the cause of her good sleep, but something was lacking. She could fall asleep quickly, but she couldn't sleep deeply. The bottom is perfect, but the top doesn't feel perfect. I feel like I need to cover myself with something. So she tried covering herself with Sejun's blanket and her own expensive bedding, but she still couldn't sleep deeply. Then Iona remembered how she had slept well at Zenka Lake. And she remembered that she had slept covered with Theo's tail. I can only get a perfect night's sleep if I have Representative Theo's tail blanket. However, I guess I can't have a deep sleep tonight. It would still be a while before Theo arrived. It can't be helped. Iona slept fitfully, waking up and falling asleep again. Zzz. Still, Iona did not have nightmares while sleeping on Sejun's lap. Chapter 85. The next morning. All right. As Sejun got up from his bed. Thud. Something white fell from Sejun's leg. Hug. Floating. Instead of falling to the ground, a round tuft of fur was floating in the air. Iona. It was Iona who was sleeping curled up, that fell from Sejun's lap. As they changed, Sejun carefully lifted Iona and put her on his blanket. Kaio. Iona curled up even more irritably. Did she not sleep well? Considering her irritable tone, it seemed like she needed more sleep. As Sejun left Iona and went outside. Squeaka. 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 The rabbits that were already awake greeted Sejun. Right morning. After greeting the rabbits, Sejun washed his face at the faucet and prepared breakfast in the kitchen. Breakfast was sea pea soup, which was being cooked for 24 hours as usual. Today, he added roasted sweet potatoes to it. Let's have breakfast. Upon Sejun's call, the rabbits that had been stretching in the front yard of the house lined up to receive breakfast and gathered together to eat. Then, Flamey, good morning. Sejun carried breakfast and went down to the cave. He wanted to chat with Flamey. Master, good morning. Flamey greeted Sejun cheerfully, waving its leaf as usual in response to Sejun's greeting. Is there anything uncomfortable? No, but more importantly, my leaves have recovered. Please give me the seed of the corrupted Ent seed. I will purify it perfectly this time. Flamey showed his first leaf, which had turned green, and spoke to Sejun. The leaf has recovered. Sejun spoke, looking at Flamey's leaf. The first and third leaves, excluding the second one that was recently used, had turned back to green. Yes, please take out the seed of the corrupted Ent seed. Okay. Sejun took out the corrupted Ent seed he had put in his pocket. Yahbu! As Flamey yelled. Whoosh! The leaf with the ability to purify changed to white, and sent a white flame to the enhanced seed of the corrupted Ent. Swish! The flame of purification gently seeped into the seed, which had turned from blue to sky blue. Flamey, you worked hard. Sejun petted Flamey's leaf, which had just turned white after using the flame of purification, and spoke. Hedihe more. While Sejun stroked Flamey with his left hand, he ate breakfast with his right hand and started his morning farm work after breakfast. Swish. While Sejun was harvesting the cherry tomatoes in the cave. Squeaka. Kriung. The black rabbit and Kyungi, who had eaten breakfast, came down to the cave cheering, full of fighting spirit. Guys, I'm counting on you for lunch. Let's have crayfish today. Squeaka. Kriung. At Sejun's words, the two nodded and entered the pond. A little later, Sejun finished harvesting the remaining cherry tomatoes and climbed the ladder to the ground. That's when, Sejun, who had climbed to the end of the ladder, felt something strange. Why is it like this? The ladder installed for moving between the cave and the surface was a foot higher than its original height, as if the ground had shifted. That's strange. Did the ladder grow? Sejun found it odd, but it wasn't a big deal, so he ignored it and looked around after climbing to the surface. The white rabbits were farming in the morning, and the gray rabbits were working on canal construction with the black minotaurs who had gone to work on time. And then, Squeaka. Choo-Choo was using magic to cut the trees into the sizes the gray rabbits wanted, and lifting the items the gray rabbits needed with floating magic, helping with the canal construction. Your magic skills are good. Kaiwat. Of course, she is my disciple. Yona, who had woken up at some point, spoke in a voice full of pride from behind Sejun. Well, it's a bit embarrassing to brag about a disciple who can use magic in front of Sejun. I know everything. You're playing, aren't you, Sejun? You're playing while purposely taking on a weaker role, right? Seeing Sejun being protected by other monsters, Iona thought that Sejun was playing with the concept of being the weakest. Oh right. Sejun responded to Iona's words by agreeing. It was more embarrassing to say no at this point, and he decided to make thorough use of this misunderstanding. Iona, can you help Choo-Choo with the canal construction? I can't use my strength because I'm playing. Yes, leave it to me. I will finish it today. And so, Iona joined the canal construction. Iona briefly discussed the canal construction with the gray rabbits and then began to use magic. Stone wall. Boom. Iona's magic was on a different scale from Choo-Choo's. In an instant, dozens of stone pillars sprouted to make the pillars to support the canal, and all of them were precisely the thickness and height that the gray rabbits requested. Although one might think that destruction and precision are far apart, it requires very precise magic control to use magic of great destruction. Thanks to that, by late afternoon, a 1 km long canal leading to the north among the canals leading to all directions was completed. Krung. Thud. Upon hearing the news that the canal was completed, Kyungi brought out the Kyungi's boat, which had been sealed. The Kyungi's boat had been transformed into a decent ship shape under the care of the gray rabbits. There was even a figurehead carved in the shape of Kyungi on the bow, and both the front and rear seats were widened so that several people could ride. Krung, Kyungi called Sejun while boarding the front seat of the Kyungi's boat. Got it. Sejun responded and boarded the Kyungi's boat. Now that the canal was also completed, he thought it would be okay. When Sejun got on the ship, Squeak, the black rabbit who was already sitting in the back seat, greeted Sejun. Oh, it's changed a lot. Inside, there were wide wooden seats for comfortable seating, and there were handles. While Sejun was looking around the Kyungi's boat. We'll also get on. Choo-choo. Yona and Choo-choo also boarded the Kyungi's boat. Then I'll float it to go the fountain, levitate. As Yona used the levitation spell. Thud. The boat began to float in the air. Then, you cunning hamster, are you trying to kidnap Sejun? Meow. Theo, who had climbed onto Sejun's lap at some point, shouted at Yona. I arrived so quickly, victory is mine. Meow. Theo, who hastened the wolves and interns to shorten the arrival time by several hours, arrived at the 99th floor of the tower, confident of his victory. I will go ahead, you guys follow slowly. Meow. Yes. Theo hurried off to Sejun's farm. Theo, who had no idea that Yona had already arrived yesterday, using the Lightspeed Merchant's route, was still receiving strange signals from his instincts about Sejun's lap. Sejun's lap is in danger. Meow. Just as Theo, putting aside his anxiety, ran eagerly and neared Sejun's farm. What? Meow. He saw Yona far away, trying to kidnap Sejun on a boat. As I suspected. Meow. How dare you steal my lap and run away? Meow. Theo sprinted full speed and jumped onto the boat, more precisely, onto Sejun's lap. And he shouted at the lap thief. Don't worry, President Park. Meow. I will protect you. Meow. Theo, covering Sejun's lap with his own body, reassured the kidnapped Sejun. What do you mean kidnapped? We're just riding a boat. Meow, what are you saying? Meow. We're going to take the boat down from there. Sejun pointed to the canal and explained. Oh, is that so? Meow. Yes, so apologize to Yona for calling her a cunning hamster earlier. No way. Meow. Even if she didn't kidnap, it's true Yona is cunning. Meow. Theo, are you not going to listen? Tisk, fine. Meow. Upon hearing Sejun's stern voice, Theo reluctantly responded. And then, Yona, I'm sorry for calling you a cunning hamster. Meow. I got a little carried away earlier. Meow. Theo meekly approached Yona and spoke. It's okay. Welcome, Representative Theo. Yona happily accepted Theo's apology and even welcomed him warmly. Finally, all the pieces of her deep sleep puzzle came together. Splash! In the meantime, the Kyungi's boat had arrived above the fountain. And then, thud! The Kyungi's boat tipped over the edge of the canal. Splash! And began to go down along the canal. Whoosh! Kyungi's boat cutting through the water currents. As the slope was gentle, the boat flowed smoothly, and Sejun and the animals enjoyed the pleasant headwind and the view of the farm. Was it this big? From his view above the canal, Sejun was able to realize anew just how large his farm was. While Sejun was looking down at his farm, I won't let my guard down. Meow. Only Theo, clinging to Sejun's lap, was keeping a wary eye on his rival, Yona. Hesitantly. To Theo, Iona looking his way and laughing seemed like she was targeting Sejun's lap. Actually, she was laughing at Sejun's lap and Theo's tail, while Theo was keeping an eye on Yona. Splash! The Kyungi's boat, which had moved 1 km, arrived at the end of the canal. On the return trip, Kyungi carried the boat with everyone in it and walked back the 1 km. Something's missing, Sejun said as he got off the Kyungi's boat. What do you mean? Meow. There's a lack of extremeness. The ride is too slow because the slope of the canal is too gentle. We can't get enough speed to feel the thrill. I don't know what that is, but I'm also lacking something. Meow. I need churu. Meow. Theo took out a churu from his bag and jumped onto Sejun's lap. Then, Open it for me, meow. Theo jumped onto Sejun's lap and boldly held out the churu to Sejun, because he is President Theo. He had achieved record-breaking results in this auction. He had more than enough right to ask for churu. Okay. Sejun opened the churu and brought it to Theo's mouth. I'll enjoy this, meow. Lick. When Theo happily started to lick the churu. Mr. Sejun, we have returned. An interrupter appeared. Elka returned belatedly with the wolves, interns, and the criminal Scaram. Who's that goblin? Sejun, seeing Scaram being dragged with his hands tied, asked. It's Scaram who conned me, meow. Punish him, meow. Theo quickly forgot about the churu and glared at Scaram. Ah, so he's that Scaram. Sejun looked at Scaram and smiled. He might have found a way to secure goods from Earth now. Just then, how dare you bring him here? Kaiser's angry voice came from the black dragon statue. And then, annihilate. Kaiser instantly erased Scaram. With only Scaram's existence annihilated, his clothes fell to the ground. What? No, why? What about my ramen? When Sejun looked at Kaiser with eyes asking for an explanation. What, why? Flap, flap. Kaiser asked in a shameless voice and hurriedly went back to the fountain. President Park, hang in there, meow. It's too early to give up, meow. Theo started to rummage around where Scaram had vanished to comfort Sejun. He had not felt anything until just now, but suddenly he felt an attraction in his front paws. Then, President Park, I found something, meow. Theo pointed to something that had fallen on the ground. There was a small metal key there. What is this? As Sejun picked up the key. The void prison key is bound to Tower Farmer Park, Sejun. A prison. At the same time, a keyhole appeared in front of Sejun. Do I insert it here? When Sejun inserted the key and turned it. Creak. With the sound of a door opening, the door to the void prison opened. Chapter 86. A few hours ago. Kaiser raised his voice while explaining the duties of a tower administrator to Aileen, whose capabilities had expanded due to the growth of the dragon heart. Aileen, in return, blocked him once more. And Aileen Tilda. Kaiser was making an earnest effort to communicate with Aileen, but she remained silent. There was only one way left for him. I'll have to ask Park Sejun for a favor. Kaiser decided to look for Sejun in order to ask him for a favor. If he could fulfill Sejun's request, Sejun would help him communicate with Aileen again, even without being asked to do so. Oh, there he is. From his spot above the fountain, Kaiser quickly spotted Sejun when he looked down on the ground. At that moment, wait, what is this energy? He felt another life form inside the goblin beside Sejun. He didn't know where they'd come into contact, but it was a parasitic life form. Furthermore, he could feel the energy of the tribe that Kaiser despised the most from within the parasite. How dare they? Where do they think this is? In his anger, he forgot about getting a favor from Sejun and used the magical power he had stored in the black dragon statue to instantly obliterate the creature. If he sloppily killed the host, the parasite inside could move to another nearby host, which could endanger Sejun. As a result, all the magical power in the black dragon statue was exhausted, and now he would have to recharge it in order to fulfill Sejun's request. Although it could be easily solved if he just asked Sejun, but his pride as the great black dragon and the master of Pratani family wouldn't allow it. Damn it! Father, what's the matter? When Kaiser started to get angry, Anton, who was beside him, asked. I just detected the energy of those white bastards on the 99th floor of the tower. What? Why is the energy of the white dragon there? They must have found the location of the black tower. Do you think they're trying to loot it? They must be taking it lightly because they know the administrator of the black tower is Aileen. How dare they belittle our granddaughter? Kaiser growled angrily. However, there was nothing he could do in the current situation. All he could do was hope for Aileen to grow quickly and fulfill her duties as the tower administrator. Aileen Tilda. Kaiser called out to Aileen once more. But he. Meow, what is this foul smell, meow? Kaiwat, the stench is too strong. Squeak. Croon. Pi ppi. Sejun and the animals covered their noses from the foul odor coming from the void prison. Pi ppi. Chu Chu quickly used wind magic to remove the smell inside the void prison. Thanks to that, the horrendous stench became much lighter. Shall we go in now? Are we really going in, meow? Squeak. Croon. While Sejun could tolerate the smell, but for the animals, the smell was still too strong. They found it unbearable just being near. In the end, only Sejun and Theo entered the void prison. Theo chose to bury his nose in Sejun's knee and hold his breath as much as possible instead of jumping off. I will guard Chairman Park's knee, meow. Theo was not one to be defeated by a mere stench. Inside the prison was a 2M cubite-shaped room without any light. Before Sejun entered, Chu Chu used magic to illuminate a sphere of light inside the prison. It's because of this thing that it smells. As soon as Sejun entered, he frowned at the waste that had hardened on the floor. This was the source of the foul smell. It's filthy. He wanted to immediately fetch water from outside and start cleaning, but he had to check what was inside the prison. Due to the small size of the prison, he quickly found out what was inside. Something was hanging from the corner of the prison ceiling, covering its body with wings, and a name was visible above it. Golden Bat. A bat the size of a fist was hanging from the corner of the prison ceiling, with thin chains tied to its legs. Golden Bat. Sejun looked puzzled at the name. There was no golden color to suggest a golden bat. It just looked skinny. As Sejun carefully approached, the golden bat nervously spread its wings and opened its eyes. The golden bat, who locked eyes with Sejun, was taken aback that someone other than its master Scaram was looking at it. And then, "Are you my new master?" A voice came into Sejun's head, like telepathy, speaking directly into his mind. "Master, are you the one speaking?" Sejun asked, looking at the golden bat. "Yes." The golden bat trembled as it answered. It was too frightened, not knowing what kind of being its new master was. "Golden bat, this won't do. First, let's clean here." "Yes." The new master didn't issue any orders to it, but fetched water from outside and started cleaning the prison along with a black rabbit and a bear cub. The animals covered their noses with leaves as they entered, probably because the smell was too strong. "Does it really smell that bad?" Sniff, sniff. The golden bat smelled its body, but having been in the prison for a long time, its sense of smell was already numb, and it didn't know how much it stank. Then, "You need to wash too." Sejun brought a bowl of warm water and said, "Okay." The golden bat began to wash itself immediately upon its master's order, and looking at the water gradually turning black, it realized how dirty it had become. But it took a long time to wash its tiny body. "This won't do, just get in." Sejun, who had been watching from the side, felt frustrated and grabbed the golden bat with wooden tongs. Swish! He gently dipped the golden bat into the water so as not to scare it. He couldn't bear to touch it with his bare hands because it was too dirty. Splash, splash. When the golden bat's body was immersed in warm water, it unknowingly let out a pleasant cry due to the comfort it was experiencing for the first time in its life. It was the first time it realized it could make such a sound. It was a sound it had forgotten. As the golden bat washed itself, the water turned completely black. "Is this filth from my body?" The golden bat felt very ashamed, as such dirty water came out of its body. "Let's change the water now." Fortunately, Sejun quickly changed the water. However, the water turned black again. It was only after Sejun replaced the water 10 times that the color of the water did not change. "Phew, it's done. Golden bat, you should take a break too." "Yes." As Sejun was about to leave after finishing cleaning the prison. Growl. A sound came from the golden bat's stomach. Looking around, there was nothing to eat in the prison. Hungry just a moment. Sejun came out of the void prison and brought a bowl of CP soup. Try eating it. Yes, thank you. Slurp, slurp. And then rest. Sejun left the golden bat eating soup and went out with the animals. The void prison door was left open for ventilation. A moment later. Hehe, it's delicious. This new master is a good master. The golden bat, left alone, ate the soup to its heart's content and talked to itself. I need to work hard for my master. The golden bat disappeared. 1 minute later. Flap, flap. The golden bat reappeared, holding a golden tumbler in its legs. Phew, it's tiring. I've brought such a large and shiny thing, the master will be pleased, right? Growl. With the thought of being praised by Sejun, the exhausted golden bat hung from the ceiling and fell into a pleasant sleep. Sniff, sniff. The animals that came out of the void prison smelled the stench on their bodies. The same went for Sejun, who smelled his clothes. It seems like the smell has soaked in. The stench kept coming from his body. This won't do, let's go to the fountain and wash up. The fountain was enchanted with purification magic, so even if they washed there, the water was quickly purified. Squeak. Grrr. At Sejun's words, the black rabbit and Kyungi, who wanted to get rid of the stench quickly, ran to the fountain. And when Sejun arrived at the fountain, I disagree, meow. I can get rid of the smell with my grooming, meow. I will groom you too, President Park. Don't go in the water, meow. Theo clung to Sejun's knee, refusing to bathe. However, no, I refuse your refusal. Sejun, who didn't want to be washed by Theo's saliva, put Theo on his knee and dipped his body into the water. Meow. Splash. Theo climbed up Sejun's body and clung to his face. Thanks to this, Sejun ended up smelling the stench from Theo's fur directly. Hey, get off, you smell. Sejun grabbed Theo by the scruff of the neck. Then he started to slowly dip Theo into the water. Woo, meow. Theo, who didn't want to get wet, shook his body to resist, but splish splash. All that did was make him wetter. In the end, Theo was completely soaked. Ha ha ha, President Theo, you were all fur, weren't you? Shrink. Looking at Theo, whose fluffy fur had disappeared when soaked in water, Sejun laughed. Don't laugh, meow. This is all President Park's fault, meow, and they're all fur too, meow. Theo pointed at the black rabbit and Kyungi at Sejun's laughter. Squeak. Krung. The black rabbit and Kyungi, angry at Theo for dragging them into his situation, approached him. Meow, guys, let's talk about this, meow. Theo quickly tried to negotiate, but grab. Theo was grabbed by the scruff of his neck by Kyungi and dragged away. A moment later. Pew Hu Hut, I'll show you my swimming skills, meow. Squeak. Krung. The three who were in the same situation quickly reconciled and began to enjoy playing in the water. The stench naturally disappeared while they were playing. And then, let's go. The last part of their water play was the water slide. They sat holding hands and slid down the canal with their bodies. Swish. Their bodies rotated as they split the water, adding more thrill than before. Hehe, this is fun. Pew Hu Hut, as expected, I am the strongest in water too, meow. Squeak. Krung. Sejun and the animals, who reached the end of the canal, laughed joyfully. And then, grrrrrrr. Slurp slurp. They roughly shook off the water and climbed onto a pile of hay to start sleeping. Indeed, the sleep after playing in the water was very sweet. That's when, if you sleep like this, you'll catch a cold. Yona approached and dried Sejun and the animals with a drying spell. She dried Theo's tail meticulously several times. Yona, who had dried their fur well. Kaiwat kaiwat kaiwat. She naturally climbed onto Sejun's lap, humming, and used Theo's tail, who was fast asleep on Sejun's lap, as a blanket and fell asleep. She was lucky to have a chance to sleep soundly until night. It was after a while that Choo Choo came to wake up Sejun and the animals. It was dinner time. Squeak. To prevent any troubles, she woke up her master first and then the others. Ahem. Sejun and the animals who woke up moved to the house and had dinner. I'm full, shall we take a walk? When Sejun, who had eaten dinner, was about to stand up and take a light walk around the farm to help with digestion. He felt a hot energy from his pocket. What's this? Sejun put his hand in his pocket and pulled out a white seed that felt hot. Purified enhanced Ent seed. Right arrow, you have purified the corrupted Ent seed that absorbed the energy of the blue moon. Right arrow, the seed has been enhanced by the energy of the blue moon. Right arrow, the corrupted energy has been purified, increasing resistance against corruption. Right arrow, upon consumption, all stats permanently increase by 15. Right arrow, if you plant it in the ground, the seed will sprout and grow into a powerful purified Ent. Right arrow, expiration date, 100 years. Right arrow grade, A+. So the purification is finished. Sejun said, looking at the white seed. Where should I plant it? It was unclear how big the purified Ent would grow. Let's just assume the size we saw last time. Sejun thought that the Ent seed could grow as big as the corrupted Ent that had absorbed the energy of the blue moon, and decided to plant the Ent seed in a very large open space. Thunk. Sejun dug the ground with his dagger and planted the seed. You have planted the purified enhanced Ent seed. Your job experience increases significantly. Your proficiency of seed sowing skill LV4 increases significantly. Due to the effect of proficiency increase LV1, your proficiency in seed sowing LV4 increases by an additional 5%. Your proficiency in seed sowing skill LV4 is filled and the level increases. And then, tab. While Sejun was tapping the ground where he had planted the seed, the purified enhanced Ent seed grows rapidly using its inherent power. Crack! The enhanced seed of the purified Ent instantly sprouted and started to break through the ground. Chapter 87. Crack! Crack! The sound kept coming from beneath the ground, but the surface was peaceful. As time passed, even the sound from beneath the ground disappeared. That was the end of it. All that remained above ground were two vibrant green leaves and the name that appeared above them. Powerful purified Ent. What is that it? As Sejun was puzzled by the unexpected result, which was different from the noisy sound. Thump. Something came up from under the sprout, or more precisely, it came up with the sprout. And then, Puduk. From beneath the ground, a powerful purifying Ent, about 20 cm in diameter and 50 cm in height, arose, stretching its arms up high in a victorious manner. And then, rustle. The powerful purified Ent, with green leaves on its head, started walking past Sejun. Hey, where are you going? Sejun touched the body of the Ent and asked. His talent, friend of nature, made communication possible. But, Ent to protect. What are you saying? Sejun asked again, but the Ent was not a talkative friend. Rustle. Sejun had no choice but to follow the powerful purified Ent. And then, Master, welcome. They arrived in front of Flamey. Rustle. The powerful purified Ent started circling around Flamey as if it wanted to protect it. Do you know why the Ent is behaving this way, Flamey? Just a moment, I'll ask. Flamey had a conversation with the Ent. The Ent says its mission is to protect the World Tree. World Tree, but why is it protecting you, Flamey? I'm not sure, it just said it would protect me, but I'm strong enough to protect myself. Flamey fluttered its leaves as if throwing a punch in the air. Okay, for now, Flamey, can you keep an eye on it to make sure it doesn't do anything strange? Yes, leave it to me, I'll watch it closely. Sejun left Flamey to watch the Ent and asked Aileen. Aileen, do you know about the World Tree? He sought information from Aileen. The tower's administrator says the world tree is a tree with a powerful force of abundance. Those who are acknowledged to live near the world tree can enjoy the benefits of abundance. What about the Ent? The tower's administrator says that originally Ents are guardians who protect the world tree. So is our Flamey the world tree? The tower's administrator asks you to wait a moment. When Aileen was asked if the apple tree was the world tree, she became flustered. She didn't know either. So, wait a moment. She asked Sejun to wait and Grandpa quickly called for Kaiser. Aileen Tilda, finally, you want to talk to this old man? Yes, Grandpa, I have a question. Go ahead and ask anything. If a world tree appears in the tower, can I confirm it? Of course you can, through the crystal orb. Kaiser began to explain to Aileen how to confirm the existence of the world tree. And the result? Tower growth conditions. World tree unfulfilled. There was no world tree in the Black Tower. Grandpa, then why is the Ent protecting a tree that's not even a world tree? Aileen, don't tell me. Did Sejun ask you this? That little rascal. He should have asked me directly. He's bothering my granddaughter. Kaiser looked ready to fly over to Sejun and answer his question right away. The black dragon statue began to spread its wings. However, Grandpa, if you tell everything to Sejun, I won't let it slide. At Aileen's threat, the black dragon statue folded its wings back. The tower administrator says that there is not a single world tree in the tower yet. Then why is the Ent acting like this? The tower administrator says that perhaps the Ent saw potential in Flamey. Aileen asked Kaiser in real time and answered Sejun. Really? Our Flamey has the potential to become a world tree. Sejun looked at Flamey with satisfaction. Just then, President Park, where are you, meow? Theo jumped down from the hole in the cave ceiling, shouting. He had been playing with the black rabbit and Kyungi, and now he was looking for Sejun to rest on his lap. As soon as Theo landed steadily on all fours, pad pad, he ran towards Sejun's knee and clung tightly. And then, President Park, sit down and receive my report, meow. Theo told Sejun to sit down. He hadn't reported the trade results yet because various things had happened as soon as he arrived. All right, President Theo, did you sell everything again this time? Sejun asked as he sat down. Of course, it was a complete sellout, meow. Theo answered confidently and took out money from his bag. 824,630 tower coins. It was 4 times more than the previous trade. You've worked hard, here's your incentive. Sejun handed Theo 50,000 tower coins. Thanks, meow, and here are things President Park likes, meow. Thud. Theo emptied his bag and took out churu, coffee, and seasonings that Sejun likes. There were 70 packets of coffee mix, along with a large amount of salt and pepper. Now that the 38th floor of the tower had hunters camping and waiting for Theo, they had a lot of supplies as each guild regularly sent provisions. That's a lot. Good job, President Theo. Whoosh. Sejun stroked Theo's back. So how many hours of president time, meow? I'll give 150 hours of president time. That's good, meow. Then quickly open the churu, meow. Upon receiving Sejun's compliment, Theo rolled over to show his belly and asked for churu. Got it. Whoosh. As Sejun tore open the churu and brought it to Theo's mouth. Lick, lick, lick. Theo began to lick the churu enthusiastically. And then, so let me tell you, meow, when I met this guy named Utada. While eating his treat, Theo bragged to Sejun about how he defeated the wild boar merchant on the 38th floor of the tower. Thus, Theo's enjoyable healing time had begun. An hour later, snore. Theo, having been stroked by Sejun, had fallen asleep on his lap. Time to sleep. As Sejun picked up Theo and stood up. Master, good night. Flamey waved its leaves and spoke. Yeah, Flamey, good night, sleep well. Sejun greeted Flamey, went to his bedroom, laid down Theo next to him and went to bed. The tower administrator says, good night. Aha, good night, Aileen. As Sejun responded, he fell asleep. Shortly after, Miuo, Theo, who had opened his eyes due to discomfort, woke up briefly and made himself comfortable on Sejun's lap. Snore, as the sound of Theo's snoring began to be heard. Creak. Kaiwat, kaiwat, kaiwat. The door quietly opened, and Iona, who had been teaching magic to Chu Chu, entered for a good night's sleep. Then, snore. Iona climbed up onto Sejun's lap, used Theo's tail as a blanket and fell asleep. The morning of the 257th day of being stranded. Park Sejun, get up. Yes. Startled by Kaiser's shout, Sejun quickly got up. Enemy is coming and you're asleep. Enemy. Yes, the corrupted Int scouts are coming. Hurry up and move. Yes. At Kaiser's shout, Sejun quickly grabbed his weapon and ran to the west. Then, there was already someone fighting with the branch scouts. Looking closer, it was a one-sided beating. Thud, thud, thud. The powerful purified Int, despite its powerful name, was being ganged up on by 10 small branch scouts. It seemed that it had come out to stop the enemies to protect Flamey. Its legs and one arm were broken, showing how much he had been hit. And whoosh! Sejun quickly threw his hand axe at one of the branch scouts who was attacking the purified Int. Thud! You have defeated a small branch scout of the corrupted Int. You have gained 25 experience points. Retrieve. Whoosh! As Sejun ran and retrieved the hand axe and threw it again, he arrived where the purified Int was. And then, thump, thud, he swung his dagger and hand axe, defeating the enemies. To Sejun, the small branch scouts were a piece of cake. After defeating 10 branch scouts, "Are you okay?" Sejun asked the purified Int. Crunch. Chomp chomp. The Int nodded and began to chew on the dead body of the branch scout. Crunch. As it ate the wood, its broken legs and arm began to heal. The Int was able to heal its wounds just by eating trees. Good right. As Sejun watched the purified Int recover. Munch munch. More enemies approached, this time 15 of them. Come on. Sejun shouted and ran toward the enemies. Sejun fought like that several times. It wasn't difficult as only 10-20 small branch scouts came. Meow. Theo opened his eyes with a feeling of emptiness and immediately noticed that Sejun was missing. Where did President Park go? Meow. As Theo was looking around for Sejun. Tug. He felt something grabbing his tail. What? Meow. Startled, Theo looked at his tail to see. No, don't. Shivering, Iona was having a nightmare gripping Theo's tail. Just this once, meow. With Iona clinging to his tail, Theo went outside to look for Sejun. Rustle, rustle. Munch, munch. After continually eating wood, the purified Int began to fight again once its body had fully recovered. However, thump. The Int's arm broke again after being hit by the enemy's fist. The purified Int was still very weak. Rustle, rustle. The Int began to eat wood again to heal. As it ate more, it grew slightly taller, and white flowers began to bud at the end of its sprout. Stay strong. Sejun felt compelled to cheer for the purified Int. It felt personal. As Sejun was dealing with the branch scouts. Found you, meow. Thump. Theo, with Iona dangling from his tail, ran over and clung back to Sejun's knee. Now I'll take care of everything, meow. President Park, you rest, meow. No, I'll fight. Understood, meow. Theo, not one to insist, accepted. Kaiwat, kaiwat, kaiwat. Thanks to Theo, Iona resumed her deep sleep. The enemies appeared intermittently, so Sejun was able to fight leisurely. Then, munch munch. The purified Int approached Sejun. Why? Sejun leaned against the Ent's body and asked. Seed pick. Seed, oh, when did this? A white seed had formed where the white flower once was at the end of the sprout on the purified Ent's head. Plug. Sejun picked the seed. You have obtained a seed from the purified Ent. Your job experience increases slightly. The proficiency of seed harvesting LV2 increases significantly. The proficiency of seed harvesting LV2 is filled and the level increases. Looking at the option, it seemed that the seeds without powerful in the name didn't have the effect of increasing stats. Let's plant it again. Poke. Sejun immediately dug the ground with his dagger and planted the seed. Then, crack, a sprout grew from the ground after a moment, and another purified Ent rose. Rustle, rustle. The two purified Ents began to eat wood together. When a bud began to form on the sprout of the recently born Ent, the two Ents, who had finished eating the branch scouts, returned to the flamey. Oh, nice. Sejun thought he should get wood for the Ents. It seemed that the number of Ents would increase rapidly. As Sejun went to the stacked trees behind the house to get some wood, and was on his way to the cave where the Ents were. Master, I brought something good for you. The golden bat, which had been waiting for Sejun to pass by, called out to him. Chapter 88. A good thing. Yes, it's big and shiny. Big and shiny. At the bat's reply, Sejun put down the wood he was carrying and went inside the void prison. And the item he found. Could it be this, big and shiny? Inside the prison was a gold tumbler that was not there when Sejun was cleaning. Yes, I prepared it for you, master. The golden bat pointed at the golden tumbler with its wings and spoke proudly. Since the previous owner, Scaram, liked big and shiny things, the golden bat thought Sejun would too. Then, this is trash, meow. Theo, who was hanging on Sejun's knee, shouted at the sight of the tumbler. TR trash, I got this from outside the tower especially for you. That's why it's trash, meow. President Park said that items from outside the tower are trash, meow. Theo said proudly, remembering Sejun's teaching. That can't be. The golden bat seemed disappointed. You got this from outside the tower. Yes, master, I can wander outside the tower for 1 minute. Seeing Sejun's reaction, the golden bat boasted about its ability. I'm competent, right? I did a good job, right? Please praise me. However, golden bat, I'm disappointed. Instead of praise, Sejun scolded the golden bat. With the ability to bring things from outside the tower, it brought back a mere tumbler. There were so many things to eat like snacks, bread, drinks, ramen, etc. And with such an ability, it brought back a mere tumbler. What? At Sejun's words, the golden bat was shocked as if the world had collapsed. It tried to impress its master with its ability, but ended up ruining it. I'm a useless bat. It wanted to hide, just like when it was abandoned right after birth because it was a different color. When the golden bat was about to hide its face with its wings in despair. Golden bat, you're wasting an incredible talent. Me talent? Yeah, Theo, the contract. Here it is, meow. At Sejun's words, Theo immediately took out the contract. Then, swish, swish. Sejun started writing the contract. He was going to observe a little more and then decide, but he couldn't treat such a top-tier talent like this. I'll release you in exchange for working for me for 10 years. Sejun proposed a contract to the golden bat, offering to release it from prison in exchange for 10 years of service. You're providing 3 meals a day and a performance bonus. The golden bat was surprised to see the contract, even though it would be thankful just to get out of here, but it was unbelievable that he is going to provide meals and even money for 10 years. This new master was strange. Now stamp it. Okay. Press. The golden bat stamped the contract with the thumb on the tip of its wing. Welcome, golden bat. Clank. Once the contract was stamped, Sejun undid the chain that bound the golden bat's legs. Thank you. Flap, flap. The unchained golden bat flew around Sejun, flapping its wings loudly. It felt so comfortable to fly without the chains that had been dragging its feet. "First sit down, I have something to ask." "Yes." Following Sejun's order, the golden bat sat on his shoulder. "And then, can you go outside the tower every day?" "No, only once a week." "Is that so? Then when you go outside the tower—" Sejun began asking a series of questions to fully understand the golden bat's ability. What he found out was that the golden bat could go to a few specific places outside the tower on Earth once a week. The bat said it wasn't exactly sure where the locations were. Also, the bat could bring things into the tower as long as they weighed less than 5 kg and were within a 30 cm radius of the bat. If he could gather more information and find out where the golden bat appears, then I can start getting supplies I need. Him. The thought alone made his mouth water with excitement. "Got it. We'll continue this conversation in the morning." Sejun ended the conversation and stepped out of the prison. "What are you doing?" "Flap, flap." Sejun asked the golden bat, which was hesitating and not coming out of the prison. Can I come out too?" "Of course, you're free now." Upon hearing Sejun's words, the golden bat gathered courage and cautiously poked its head out of the prison. "Wow!" The golden bat was touched as it breathed in the fresh air outside the prison. And then, flap, flap, it began to joyfully fly around. "Don't go too far." Clink. Sejun advised the golden bat as he locked the prison. He planned to use the prison as a storage room in the future. He picked up the wood again and took it to the Ents, but they didn't eat it. "Why aren't they eating?" "Master, there's no life force in these." "Life force?" It seemed like they only ate the ones that hadn't been dead for long. "Got it, time to sleep." Sejun hurried back home. He was very sleepy. "All right." Sejun woke up from his sleep and immediately got out of bed. Huh. Sejun realized that his lap was empty. Where did he go? Theo, who was supposed to be on his lap, was nowhere to be seen. Swoosh. When Sejun added another line to the wall of his bedroom and came out. "This is Black Rabbit and Kyungi, meow." "Yes." Theo was introducing Black Rabbit and Kyungi to the golden bat. Squeak. Kyuang. Black Rabbit and Kyungi greeted the golden bat, adjusting their posture to look like big brothers. And then, "Golden bat, since you're the youngest now, take good care of your big brothers from now on, meow." "Yes, big brother." The ranking was quickly settled. Just then, flap, flap, the black dragon statue flew over. "Park Sejun, you lazy brat, why did you wake up so late?" It was Kaiser, who was grumpy for no reason, despite having waited for Sejun to wake up. Hello, Mr. Kaiser." "Yes." "But what's the matter? Is Aileen not talking to you again?" "Yes, no, that's not what I came to talk about." The conversation channel that briefly opened when Aileen asked about the world tree was quickly closed with Kaiser's nagging. "So, I came to tell you that since the Ents were born from the seeds you planted yesterday, there would be no problem even if the corrupted Ents become extinct now." So are you going to take action now, Mr. Kaiser?" "Why would I step in? You should do it." "Me?" "Yes, starting today. Go to the Western Forest and hunt the corrupted Ents." Flap, flap. Kaiser left immediately after saying his piece, returning to the fountain. "So, are we going to the Western Forest, meow?" When Theo began preparing for battle by unsheathing his claws. Squeak. Kyuang. The Black Rabbit and Kyungi also picked up their weapons, a hammer and an enhanced branch of the corrupted Ent. Just then, gurgle. The sound came from Sejun's stomach, who hadn't eaten breakfast. "Let's eat something first." As Sejun went to the kitchen, Theo, who had suddenly clung to Sejun's knee, held Churu in his front paws, asking Sejun to feed it to him. And, squeak, Kyuang, flap. The rest of the animals naturally followed Sejun. Kyuwang, especially Kyungi, seemed excited, as he was planning to eat one more time when Sejun ate. The meal was chaotic. Lick, lick, lick. Sejun fed churu to Theo with his left hand, while eating soup and steamed potatoes made by the rabbits with his right hand. And gulp, gulp, troon. Every time Kyungi drank soup in one shot, Sejun refilled it. The good thing was that the black rabbit and the golden bat just stayed quietly on Sejun's shoulder. They clung to him so well that they didn't interfere with his movements. Phew! Sejun sighed after eating. He had eaten to get some energy, but he felt more exhausted after the meal than before. After eating, Sejun went down to the cave. He packed crops and necessary items in the void prison store to take with him to the western forest. After filling up the storage, when he went to Flamey, "Master, I will give you a buff." Flamey offered to apply the flame buff. "All right, thanks." Sejun had no intention of accepting the flame of protection buff initially, whose utility he couldn't ascertain, but he accepted it considering Flamey's sincerity. Yup. Flame's leaf turned blue, and the flame of protection seeped into Sejun's body. The flame of protection seeps in for 3 hours. The flame of protection protects the target. "Ent no one follow me." Sejun, who had received Flame's buff, spoke to the large Ent. Sejun named the first-born Ent as Ent no 1. Naturally, the second-born Ent was named Ent no 2. He wanted to take both Ents, but the Ents refused to leave both their posts, insisting that one should stay here to protect Flamey. So, Sejun decided to take the stronger Ent no 1 with him. Plunk, plunk. Upon Flamey's command that it should follow Sejun's words as its own, Ent no 1 followed Sejun as instructed. When they came up to the surface, Theo, Black Rabbit, Kyungi, Golden Bat, Iona, and Choo Choo were waiting. Iona, are you planning to join?" "Yes, I need to gather some ingredients and train Choo Choo." "All right, let's go together." Having someone as powerful as Iona was a relief for Sejun. Kyungi grew bigger and carried the group, including Ent 1 on his back. Theo, who had secured a spot on Sejun's lap, widened his eyes. "I must not fall asleep, meow." Kaiwat, kaiwat, kaiwat. Theo, seeing Iona laughing at him, reminded himself to stay alert. He can't give up Sejun's lap. "Let's go." Kyuwang. Thud, thud. With Sejun's order, Kyungi began running towards the west. And then, snore, snore. Before anyone realized it, Theo had fallen asleep on Sejun's lap, and Iona too had fallen asleep next to him, using Theo's tail as a blanket. After about 40 minutes of running, they reached the entrance to the western forest. The branch watchmen guarding the entrance were few in number, as most hadn't recovered from Sejun's previous fire attack. "Guys, wake up." Sejun woke up Theo and Iona, and disembarked from Kyungi's back. "Pug." Sejun threw his axe to kill the branch watchman, and entered the entrance of the western forest. "You follow while eating." Sejun took Ent 1 out from his void prison, and gave the instruction. Plunk. Ent 1 nodded to Sejun's order, and began eating the branch watchman. As the group passed the entrance, swoosh, swoosh. Yellow and purple flowers approached. They were the sticky flowers attacker and poisonous fog flower attacker. Boom! "I'll prepare the enemies just right for President Park to defeat, meow." Theo ran forward, his claws out. And then, squeak! Kyuwang. The Black Rabbit and Kyungi followed. Thunk! You have killed the corrupted Ent's poisonous fog flower attacker. You've gained 1,500 experience points. Sejun slowly followed, delivering the final blow to the monsters weakened by the animals, thus gaining experience points. Just as they were defeating the enemies, a tenant farmer has created a 300 square meter magical cherry tomato field. You've gained 200 experience points. The size of your farm has exceeded 100,000 square meter. Talent, Landlord evolves to Centurion Landlord. Centurion Landlord. Sejun checked his evolved talent. Talent Centurion Landlord. This is a talent that can only be acquired by a farmer who owns more than 100,000 square meter of farmland. Can designate up to 100 tenant farmers. Tenant farmers can use the landlord's job skills. When a tenant farmer uses the landlord's skill, the landlord receives a 3% reward. Can designate up to 5 guards to protect the farm. You receive 50% of the experience points for enemies killed by the guards within 1 km of the landlord. Talent grows as the size of the farm grows. 50% of the experience points. Moreover, this doesn't steal experience from the animals. At this rate, it seemed faster for the animals to kill monsters instead of him doing it personally. Sejun appointed Theo, Black Rabbit, Kyungi, Iona, and Choo Choo as guards. Guys go. The animals, who had become Sejun's farm guards, began to kill the monsters. TL notes. Previously, I directly converted the Korean unit pyong to square meter, for example, 10 pyong to 10 square meters. However, from now on, I will be providing an approximate conversion from pyong to square meters. For e.g. in this chapter, instead of mentioning 100,000 square meters, it is mentioned as 30,000 pyong in the raw. When converted to square meters, it becomes approximately 99,173.554 square meters, which I have rounded to 100,000 for better readability. Chapter 89. 67th floor of the tower. The bodies of most red locusts had turned purple. Their numbers were close to 7 billion, on the verge of evolving into purple locusts. The sturdy blade onion leaves wilted after killing a few of the red locusts due to their increased toxicity. And the locusts were freely flying towards the lizardmen's stronghold. Don't back down, stop the enemies. Lizardman Grand Warrior Tamuro shouted at his soldiers, seeing the purple wave covering the sky. However, the enemy's poison was a problem. Save me. Soldiers were dying from poisoning just by being splattered with blood. Do not confront them directly, attack them with bows or magic. However, it was impossible to block nearly 7 billion with only ranged attacks. The red locusts began attacking the archers and magicians. Then, Awu, the silver wolves, who had been resting in the rear, stepped forward to protect the archers and magicians. They had detoxifying green onions provided by Sejun in case of an emergency. Thanks to them, the Grand Warrior Tamuro, who now had a breather, requested reinforcements after informing them of the situation. The first to initiate the attack was Kyungi. Kyungi no longer needed to hold back his strength for his father's sake, went all out. And then, Kyungi began to enlarge the enhanced branch of the corrupted ent, infusing it with magic. The branch absorbed magic and grew massively. Kyungi swung the branch that had grown to 20 m in an instant with all his might. Boom Kwang! A massive shockwave radiated from Kyungi, obliterating everything in a 50 m radius in a fan shape. Guard Kyungi has killed the sticky flower attacker. You've gained 600 experience points, 50% of the experience points earned by Guard Kyungi. You've leveled up. You've gained 1 bonus stat. Well, Sejun leveled up with just 1 attack from Kyungi. And then, Mew, do not block President Theo's way, meow. Squeaka. Squeaka. Theo, Black Rabbit, and Choo Choo scattered in different directions, killing monsters where Kyungi's attack didn't reach. Guard Theo has killed the poisonous fog flower attacker. You've gained 750 experience points, 50% of the experience points earned by Guard Theo. You've leveled up. You've gained 1 bonus stat. Thanks to them, Sejun leveled up once again. Then, Kaiwat Power of Magic, obey my command and destroy the enemy, Ray of Destruction. Iona, holding the Staff of Disaster, used magic. Iona seemed to be overflowing with energy, perhaps because she had a good sleep. Zering. A red beam with a diameter of about 1 m was shot from the black gem at the end of the staff, heading towards the center of the western forest. A moment later, boom! With a huge explosion, a part of the center of the western forest disappeared. It wasn't for nothing that she was called a destructive wizard. Guard Iona has defeated the corrupted young Ent. You've gained 5,000 experience points, 50% of the experience points earned by Guard Iona. You have leveled up. You have gained 1 bonus stat. You have leveled up. You have gained 1 bonus stat. You have leveled up. You have gained 1 bonus stat. Well, his mouth fell open involuntarily. With 1 magic attack, he had leveled up 3 times in a row and reached level 37. But, Iona, leave the bodies. The Ents need to eat. Sejun had to restrain Iona. All the bodies of the corrupted Ents had disappeared due to the recent attack. Kaiwat. Yes, Mr. Sejun. Iona responded and prepared another magic spell. O power of ice, at my command. As Sejun was telling Kyungi that it should also leave the bodies behind while watching Iona chanting a spell. Avalanche. Iona used magic. Suddenly, the temperature dropped and the sky darkened. Why is it suddenly so cold? Sejun climbed onto Kyungi's warm back and looked at the darkened sky. What are all those? Thousands of giant ice spears hanging in the sky fell towards the center of the western forest, and the forest was trapped in ice. Guard Iona has defeated the corrupted Ents. You've gained 15,000 experience points, 50% of the experience points earned by Guard Iona. You have leveled up. You have gained 1 bonus stat. You have leveled up. You have gained 1 bonus stat. Iona, who was told not to obliterate, decided to freeze instead. The corrupted Ents of the western forest couldn't get out because of the ice wall, and thanks to that, the animals only had to clean up the remaining monsters. During this process, Sejun leveled up once more, reaching level 40. And then, a quest has been generated. Job quest: secure 5 colleagues to help with farming. Right arrow reward: level 41 unlocked 5,000 tower coins. Job skill: Farmer's Touch LV. 1. He completed the job quest as soon as he received it. Sejun already had white rabbits helping him with farming. You have completed the quest. Level 41 is unlocked as a quest completion reward. You have received 5,000 tower coins as a quest completion reward. The level of your job skill increases as a reward for exceeding the quest. You have obtained the job skill Farmer's Touch LV 2 as a quest completion reward. Farmer's Touch. It was his first time receiving a job skill through a job quest. Sejun hurriedly checked the skill. Farmer's Touch LV 2. Right arrow: the growth of plants touched by the farmer's hand speeds up slightly. It's vague. It speeds up a bit. He felt he had to try it to know. Should I raise my stats a bit? Sejun began to invest in magic power with the 8 bonus stats accumulated through level-ups. Just as he had raised his magic power by 2. Your magic power has surpassed 30. The Seal of Rain Thunder LV 1 rainfall has been released. Finally, the Seal of Rainfall was released. However, fountain and canals had already been constructed, making it easy to supply water to crops. So, the news didn't give him much excitement. Sejun invested the remaining 6 bonus stats all in magic power. What Sejun was aiming for was Throw Thunder skill, which would unlock at magic power 501. Heh, if I could throw some thunder, I'll become a bit stronger, right? He wanted to escape from being the weakest on the 99th floor of the tower. Thud, thud. The Ent, which had been following him, eating trees, approached Sejun. Perhaps because it had eaten a lot of trees, the Ent's head now reached Sejun's waist. On the Ent's head were 2 white seeds. Each time a seed was formed, the number of seeds on the Ent's head seemed to increase. Oh, good job. Tab, tab. As Sejun plucked the 2 seeds from the Ent's head. Farmer's Touch LV 2 is activated. While your hand is in contact, the growth of the powerful purified int accelerates slightly. As soon as Sejun's hand touched the int's body, the skill farmer's touch activated. This skill activated whenever he touched a plant, and the int was a plant. So this is how it's used. Sejun realized how to use the skill, and he immediately planted the 2 newly acquired seeds of the purified int in the ground. Pop, pop. The seeds grew quickly, and 2 purified ints were born from the ground. And then, munch, munch. The newly born ints number 3 and 4 began to eat trees, following int number 1. I have nothing to do, should I just touch them for a while? While Sejun was contemplating what to do with the ints, Kyungi came up to him with a bowl for honey. It was already lunchtime. Just a moment. Sejun took out the honey he had stored in his pocket dimension, and Kyungi politely extended his honey bowl with both hands. Clicking. Sejun opened the lid of the glass honey jar and glug, glug, glug. After pouring 3 dollops into the bowl, it was filled to the brim. Take some time to eat. Kyung. Slurp, slurp. While Kyungi was busily eating honey next to Sejun, he took out food for the other animals from the void prison storage. Piranhas, peanuts, carrots. I'm hungry, meow. Me too. Squeak. Squeak, squeak. As Sejun took out food from the void prison storage, the animals who had dealt with the nearby monsters returned. Choo Choo, could you make a fire for us? Squeak. At Sejun's request, Choo Choo used magic to gather the wood and start a fire. Thanks, here you go. Sejun handed the rabbits some carrots. The rabbits were perfectly satisfied with just the carrots. Crunch, crunch. While the black rabbit and Choo Choo were enjoying their carrots, Sejun roasted some fish on the fire made by Choo Choo, while shelling peanuts from their hulls. Then he started roasting about 100 peanuts in a pot. It was roasted peanuts to be given to Yona, who performed the best today. Sizzle. As Sejun constantly stirred the peanuts with a wooden spatula to prevent them from burning. Crackle. The sound was made, and the savory smell of peanuts began to fill the air. Kaiwat, kaiwat, kaiwat. Yona couldn't hide her smile as she smelled the savory peanuts. As the smell and color of the peanuts deepened, Sejun started to cool the pot by placing it on the ground. Gulp, can I eat it now? Yona, swallowing her saliva, couldn't help but ask. Yes, but it's hot, so eat it slowly. Kaiwat, kaiwat, kaiwat. Okay, wind. Yona cooled down the peanuts quickly with a wind magic and began to eat. In the meantime, he shared the grilled fish, nicely browned, with Theo, who was on his lap. It's quite spacious here. As Sejun looked around while eating the grilled fish, when all the monsters were wiped out, it looked more like an open field than a forest. Plus, swish. The soil is good too. Sejun touched the soil and said, I want to plow this field. He felt greedy, but right now he couldn't even fully manage the land he had. Sejun decided to wait for later. Kaiwat, 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 I'm full. Yona patted her bloated stomach and climbed onto Sejun's lap. Where are you climbing, meow? Kaiwa, I do what I want. Yona was offended by Theo's response and got angry. So do I. Despite seeing Yona's terrifying magic just moments ago, Theo was not scared. Hehe, with Sejun I am invincible, meow. Plus, I am now President Theo right now, meow. Although it was a strange logic, it gave Theo confidence, and the one who had trouble because of it was Sejun. Guys, if they started to fight here, he would be in serious danger. Yona, can you look at this void prison? Can it be upgraded? Sejun quickly diverted Iona's attention. Kaiwat, 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 I'll try. When the great black dragon asked her for a magical request, Iona was moved and went inside the void prison to inspect the inside. Kaiwat, kaiwat, kaiwat. This is an old version using triple-layered magic. I think I can improve it. Yona analyzed the magic system of the void prison and spoke with a confident voice. I'll close the prison door for a while. Creak. Yona closed the door of the void prison and began to upgrade it. That was a close one. Sejun felt relieved. Fortunately, he was able to prevent a fight and even upgrade the void prison. Theo, get along with Yona. I understand, meow. Since President Park says so, I'll give in a bit, meow. When Sejun was pacifying Theo by stroking his stomach, the tower administrator reports that a green alarm has appeared. Aileen reported to Sejun that a green alarm had appeared. A green alarm. The tower's administrator appoints you as the tower's mid-level administrator to prevent the extinction of the jewel frog in the 67th floor swamp of the tower. The 67th floor of the tower. You will be moved to the swamp of Navia on the 67th floor of the tower in 30 seconds. You can bring your subordinates with you. Please designate who will go with you. Sejun hurriedly selected Theo, Black Rabbit, Kyungi, and Choo Choo, who were in front of him. Subordinate designation is complete. Fortunately, thanks to the growth of Aileen's dragon heart, he was able to designate all four. What about Yona? Just when Sejun was about to open the void prison in a hurry. You are being moved to the Navia swamp on the 67th floor of the tower. You cannot move more than 100 m away from Navia swamp. Sejun and the animals disappeared. And, munch munch. Only the Ents were left in the western forest, busily eating the trees. Thud. They were the Ents who have been picking seeds from each other's heads. Since there was no other Ent to pick seeds for them unit now, they had previously asked Sejun to pick them. Crunch. New Ents sprouted in the western forest. TL notes. 1. Previously, it was mentioned that the MP required to unlock Throw Thunder skill was 70, but in this chapter, the author changed it to 50 MP without providing any explanation. Chapter 90. Sejun can handle it well, right? Aileen was thinking about Sejun, who had gone to the 67th floor of the tower. The red locust did worry her, but the other animals will protect Sejun well. Since other animals had also gone with him, Aileen wasn't overly worried. Then, the population of the red locust on the 67th floor of the tower has exceeded 7 billion. The red locust on the 67th floor of the tower has met the conditions for evolution. The red locust on the 67th floor of the tower evolves into purple locust. What purple locust? Aileen was taken aback upon seeing the new alert. And then, Grandpa. She hurriedly called Kaiser. Aileen, finally, do you want to have a conversation with your grandpa? Grandpa, the red locust on the 67th floor of the tower has evolved into purple locust. What about our Sejun? The enemy gets stronger, the reward also gets better. It's a good thing. What are you talking about? Our Sejun is in danger. Stop worrying about that Sejun again. He has detoxifying green onions and he's surrounded by animals even stronger than him. He even gained an extra skill. So, you're saying we don't need to worry about our Sejun? That's what I'm saying. He. Grandpa, teach me the administrator's work quickly. Ha, okay, your grandpa will teach you everything. Finally, our Aileen has come to her senses. When Kaiser was moved. He. I'll quickly learn the administrator's work and see if there is anything more I can do for our Sejun. Aileen was thinking something else. The 67th floor of the tower, Navia Swamp. Swoosh. You have arrived at the Navia Swamp on the 67th floor of the tower. From now on, find and remove the cause that threatens the extinction of the jewel frogs. A bright light flashed, and Sejun and the animals appeared. Squish. What is this? As soon as he arrived, his shoes were soaked with water, and the damp feeling inside them made Sejun's expression crumple. The same was true for the animals that had come with Sejun. I hate this feeling, meow. Squeak. Kyung. Pi ppi. The animals frowned as their fur got wet. Flap flap. Suddenly, the sound of wings flapping could be heard nearby. Nearly 50,000 red locusts, now almost purple, were flying towards Sejun and the animals from all directions. What? These creatures? Squeak. Roar. Pi. The animals surrounded Sejun and blocked the approach of the red locusts. Meow, I President Theo, will protect President Park. Meow. Swoosh. Theo extended his claws and slaughtered the red locusts, and squeak. Bam, bam, bam. Black Rabbit swung its hammer, crushing the red locusts. And then, grrr. Boom, bang. Kyungi enlarged its body to about 3 m and extended the enhanced branch of the corrupted ent to about 5 m, destroying the red locusts with the wind pressure created by the full swing of the branch. Pi. Splash. Finally, Choo Choo used the water attribute magic, water cannon, and shot high-pressure water to kill the red locusts. Guard Theo has killed the red locust. You have acquired 5 experience points, 50% of the experience points earned by Guard Theo. Maybe because they're weak, the experience points were small. When the animals began to deal with the red locusts, you have found the cause of the extinction of the jewel frogs in the Navia swamp on the 67th floor of the tower. A mid-level administrator quest has been triggered. Mid-level administrator quest. Exterminate the red locust on the 67th floor of the tower. Right arrow red locust, 0699999712. Right arrow reward, 1 million EXP, 10,000 tower coins. Right arrow failure. You cannot return to the original location until you complete the quest. The quest appeared. 6.99 billion. Sejun was surprised to see the population of the red locusts. According to the wolves he had heard from before, the population of the red locusts had reduced to nearly 5 billion. They'll evolve into purple when their number increases by just 288, right? While Sejun was looking at the quest, squirm. Red locusts, roughly 10 cm in length and smaller in size than regular ones, began to emerge from the swamp. They were freshly hatched red locust larvae. The red locusts had been using the Navia swamp as their hatching ground. The red locust larvae, though just born, moved agilely. And when a red locust larva that emerged right below Sejun bit Sejun's foot, whoosh! Blue flames erupted from Sejun's body and incinerated the red locust larva. It was the flame of protection buff given by Flamey. Whoosh! The protection flame burned the larvae coming out from the ground, protecting Sejun. However, SSSSH. The flame of protection buff that was protecting Sejun faded away a few minutes later, not lasting the full 3 hours. Fortunately, in the meantime, the animals had taken care of all 50,000 red locusts, and roar, thump thump. When Kyungi stomped on the ground a few times, Guard Kyungi has killed the red locust larvae. You have acquired 2 experience points, 50% of the experience points earned by Guard Kyungi. Guard Kyungi has killed the red locust egg. You have acquired 1 experience point, 50% of the experience points earned by Guard Kyungi. All the red locust larvae and eggs that were beneath the swamp were crushed under Kyungi's feet. You have leveled up. You have acquired 1 bonus stat. Thanks to this, Sejun leveled up once again. Although the experience points given by the red locust were small, the sheer number made up for it. Let's assess the situation first. Create thundercloud. Since they were attacked as soon as they arrived, neither Sejun nor the animals had any grasp of the situation. I wonder if there's a waypoint nearby. As he created the thundercloud, Sejun quickly looked around the sky. It's too far away. Roughly 10 km away, he could see a red stream shooting up into the sky. It seemed like he would have to give up registering a waypoint this time as well. The thundercloud created in Sejun's hand rose to the sky. Then, at a height of about 3 meters, it spread out, concealing them from view. Centered around Sejun, a cloud about 30 cm thick and 500 m in radius covered the area. Thanks to the increased proficiency in creating thunderclouds, such detailed control became possible. Pi PPI. Chu Chu, who had taken a brief rest to recover her mana, cast a waterproof spell on Sejun and the animals. Oh, thanks. Thanks to Chu Chu's magic, his shoes were still damp, but he was able to avoid having his feet wrinkled with moisture. Let's start with the void prison storage. Clink. Sejun opened the void prison, but the door didn't open because Iona was upgrading the void prison storage. This is a problem. Looking at the number of red locusts, it seemed likely that they would evolve into purple locusts soon. In order to prepare for that, he needed the detoxifying green onions which were inside the void prison storage. Just then, the red locust has evolved into purple locusts. The quest has been updated. Mid-level Administrator's Quest. Exterminate the purple locusts on the 67th floor of the tower. Right arrow purple locusts, 07000011712 billion. Right arrow reward, 3 million EXP, 50,000 tower coins. Right arrow failure. You can't return to your original location until the quest is complete. The quest was updated. What? We just killed over 50,000 and the number has increased. It seemed like there were other hatching sites elsewhere as well. President Park, eat this quickly, meow. It's dangerous, meow. While he was looking at the quest, Theo quickly stuffed a detoxifying green onion into Sejun's mouth. Why are you doing this? Just swallow it quickly, meow. Theo shouted as he held Sejun's jaw so he couldn't open his mouth. Chomp chomp. Sejun glared at Theo with a look that said, I'll remember this, and chewed the green onion as he was told. Although it was a raw green onion and a bit spicy, but as he chewed it became sweet and tasty. Gulp. You have consumed a detoxifying green onion. Neutralizes poison of rank D or lower for 1 hour. President Theo, what? Just as Sejun, who had swallowed the green onion, was about to scold Theo. President Park looked down, meow. Down, The water around Sejun had turned purple. You have been poisoned by a D-rank nerve poison. Detoxified. Had Theo given him the detoxifying green onion a bit later, it would have been dangerous. The poisonous blood from the red locusts had flowed into the swamp. President Theo, you. Sejun was moved by Theo, who had saved his life. However, President Park, that was close, meow. Be careful, meow. As Theo spoke while rubbing his face against Sejun's knee, Sejun cooled off. That's just who he was. President Theo, where did you get the detoxifying green onions? I've packed goods to sell in advance in my bag, meow. I am always a well-prepared, excellent wandering merchant, meow. Theo proudly showed off his bag. Good job. Sejun stroked the head of Theo hanging on his knee. I want to eat churu, meow. Not here, I'll give you some later. Okay, meow. Thanks to Theo, Sejun was less worried about the poison for the time being. Sejun also fed the detoxifying green onions to the other animals as well. They had stronger resistance to poison than Sejun, but they could be in danger if they were continuously exposed to it. But is this really okay? Sejun looked at the swamp that had turned purple and wore a serious expression. He was worried about the jewel frogs that were endangered. The 67th floor of the tower, Lizardman's base. Block them. Hold on. Don't let a single one enter the waypoint. Lizardmen, freelance mercenaries, and the Silver Wolf tribe were desperately defending the waypoint. However, they were lacking in long-range firepower to stop the red locusts who were pushing in with sheer numbers. They were starting to get pushed back. Damn it, when is the reinforcement coming? We'll be breached in a few hours at this rate. The Lizardman great warrior Tamuro felt bitter about the reinforcements that didn't come despite waiting. Then, flab flab. About a quarter of the red locust forces started to change direction and head east. This gave them some respite. Rest and recover your strength in turns. What's happening over there? That's where Navia Swamp is. After giving orders to his soldiers, Tamuro looked in the direction the red locusts were flying and thought. Inside a rock cave. Jump, jump, jump. Pew Pew Hut, it's so good without Yona meow. Theo was sitting on Sejun's lap, eating churu. Sejun and the other animals were drying their clothes by the fire. Just then, hop hop. 20 frogs with various gems embedded in their foreheads approached. They were jewel frogs. Did the treatment go well? When Sejun put his hand on the jewel frog's body and asked, Ribbit, ribbit. Thanks to you, our friends have become healthy. Ribbit, ribbit. As the jewel frog bowed its head, the other jewel frogs also expressed their gratitude to Sejun. Sejun met the jewel frogs while he was wandering around the swamp, which had turned purple, searching for the habitat of the jewel frogs. He thought the jewel frogs would be in danger since the water had been contaminated with poison. While searching for the jewel frogs, Ribbit, Black Rabbit heard the faint voice of a jewel frog. Squeak. Then the Black Rabbit led Sejun to a place where he found a jewel frog dying from poison. Eat this for now. When Sejun fed the jewel frog, detoxifying green onion to detoxify it. Ribbit, ribbit, ribbit. Thank you, my friends are also sick from drinking purple water. Please help them. The revived jewel frog asked Sejun for help, and they were now waiting in the habitat of the jewel frogs for them to fully recover. That's good. We'll handle things here, so don't come out for a few days. Sejun shouted out to the jewel frogs and came out of the large crevice where the jewel frogs lived. As soon as he came out, he was greeted by 1.5 billion purple locusts. Sejun froze at the astronomical number. Then, bang! Haha, Sejun, I've finished upgrading. It's now using quintuple layered magic. Yona appeared, opening the door to the void prison storage with both hands.